After the most successful road trip of the season, it's great to welcome your Rangers back to Arlington. Unfortunately, their stay is brief. A quick 3-game series against the Tigers. 3 games to take in the West Division leader. 3 games to see your Rangers firing on all cylinders. So sit back and watch Colby Lewis start it off. Your Rangers and the Detroit Tigers are next on Fox Sports Southwest. Welcome on the hottest day of the season to date to the shortest homestand of the season. First of 3 for the Rangers against the American League at Central Division second place ball club at the moment, the Detroit Tigers. And welcome, Dave Barnett along with Tom Grieve. Only 3 games here, but any chance these days to watch Colby Lewis at work, and Tom, it is a treat. If you don't like watching Colby these days, you just don't like pitching.
You don't like good pitching, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. After 4 starts, Colby Lewis was 1-3. His ERA was just about 7. In his last 7 starts, it's been a dramatic turnaround, and he's throwing the ball like he did much of last season. In fact, maybe even better. He's 4-2 in those 7 starts. His ERA is 5th in the American League, just a tad over 2. He's also thrown 53 innings. That's almost 8 innings per start. That's the most over the same period of time in the American League, and opponents are just hitting a little over 200 against him. So in 7 starts, he's been just about as good as anybody in the league.
Well, one Tiger he has not enjoyed working against so far anyway is making a homecoming. That's Denton Ryan's Austin Jackson. Back home for these 3 games. He now makes his offseason home in Garland. And Austin against Colby Lewis all time, 5 for 10. He had his first career home run against Colby last year. Lineups in the first pitch are next. Sports Southwest, brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. By Jack in the Box. Get the new Bourbon Barbecue Steak Grill Sandwich now. By Citibank. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. As you are no doubt aware, if you have been anywhere in the area, this has been a triple-digit day. Right now, the thermometer out high above the offices in left center field reading 96 degrees. We'll see what the official opening pitch temperature is. First, we check the Southwest Airlines Tigers batting order, and as we said, the homecoming Austin Jackson out of Denton Ryan will lead things off as usual. Don Kelly filling in for Brandon Inge at third base. Inge on the DL with mono. Brennan Bosch, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, a very challenging 3, 4, and 5 section of the lineup. Andy Dirks, young left fielder. Johnny Peralta, top hitting shortstop in the American League at this point. Alex Avila may be the top hitting catcher in the American League, and Ryan Raybert is at second base, and Colby Lewis goes for his 6th win of the year.
Yeah, we talked in the open how well Colby's pitched in his last 7 starts. Even with the first 4 starts, it adds up to a really good line. 5-5, solid 3.48 ERA. In his last 7 starts, his ERA is 2.04 and opponent's batting average of 2.18. He's been just about untouchable. And after having a real problem with the long ball, 13 of them in his first 43 innings, he's only given up 1 in his last 31 innings. That's pretty much been the dramatic turnaround, the ability to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Well, Colby working on a stretch of 12 straight scoreless innings. The Rangers staff working on a streak of 18 consecutive scoreless innings with the back-to-back shutouts turned in by Derek Holland back home in Ohio on Saturday, and last night by C.J. Wilson for 7 2/3, 3-hit ball. Darren Oliver and Neftali Feliz perfect in their inning in 1/3, supporting C.J., giving the Rangers a 5-game winning streak and a 4-game sweep at Cleveland as Austin Jackson settles in, batting .232 for the year. Had a good series at Chicago over the weekend, 5 out of 14, as the Tigers took the last 2 of that 3-game series. 97 degrees officially our opening temperature. Austin Jackson, as we said, great success against Colby Lewis, 5 for 10. His first career home run came against Colby last April 25th, his rookie year, 2010.
Well, he just got a chance for a couple of fastballs, and he swung and missed and fouled one off. Sooner or later, he's going to stop getting fastballs. He's going to have to hit that hard breaking ball. He's got a good record against Colby in the past. He's probably had some pretty good pitches to hit. But a young hitter who tends to strike out a little bit and is not patient at the plate, going to have a hard time against Colby Lewis when Colby's throwing his normal game.
And Austin Jackson very strikeout prone, but he gets a shot into the left center field gap here, and with his speed, you got to think about 2. Josh Hamilton gets to it in time to hold him to a leadoff single.
Well, surprisingly for a young hitter, he saw some fastballs, didn't handle the fastball, and hit the slider.
Ranger defense played pretty well on the trip. Just 2 errors. Hamilton, Chavez, Cruz in the outfield. Beltre, Andrus, Kinsler, Moreland in the infield, and Yorvi Torrealba is behind the plate. Josh Hamilton is in the sun field. Will be for quite some time. About 2/3 of the outfield is in shadow now. That could be an issue for sure for Nelson Cruz, but it will be for some time still for Hamilton.
Yeah, it's usually the first half of the first inning. It's usually the Ranger outfielder that has the problem. It's usually gone down by the time the other team takes the field. But for that 15-minute period early in the game, it's right straight in your eyes. It's tougher on a line drive than it is on a fly ball.
2 balls and no strikes to the third baseman, Don Kelly. probably keep those shades on for at least a couple innings out there. Kelly last year, his first full season in the major leagues. And rips that one foul. 8th round draft pick in 2001 for the Tigers out of Point Park College in Pennsylvania. He was an NAIA All-America there. Spent 6 years coming up through the system. Went to Pittsburgh as a minor league free agent 07, Arizona 08, returned to the Tigers in 09, and finally stuck last year. And a very strong second half.
I'm watching Josh out in left field, and he's moving around, within 5 or 10 feet, trying to find a spot where the sun's not in his eyes. I think he finally found a spot. It goes right through the crack between the seats and the roof. There you can see exactly where it's coming through.
It has been a fearsome sun today. Rangers landed in a downpour yesterday at left field. Scrambling for their cars, trying not to get drenched. About as opposite as these conditions could possibly be. Lewis falling behind Kelly 3-1 now fills the count up. Tigers winning both Saturday and yesterday at Chicago, 7-3 yesterday, with a Ryan Rayburn grand slam the difference. Jim Leyland's team dominates the White Sox like Ron Washington's dominates the Indians. They've taken 13 of their last 15 against Chicago. That one very deep but very foul. Well back, in fact, bouncing off the windows just below the second level of suites. Apparently they're bulletproof. And this, the American League Central since May 3rd. And Tom, if that's how it finishes, would you be too surprised?
No, I would have been at the start of the year because I wouldn't have expected the Twins to be 4th. But based on where they are right now and the injury problems they have, I wouldn't be surprised. But I still feel Chicago is going to be a factor. They've got a veteran team, veteran starting pitchers, and the Tigers have a pretty solid team, especially when they get healthy.
There goes Jackson, but it is ball 4. And a leadoff single and a walk for Colby Lewis to begin the first inning.
Well, 2 starts ago against Kansas City, in the first couple of innings, Colby couldn't find his breaking ball and was pitching pretty much with his fastball, and he had a tough couple of innings. He found it in the 3rd inning and then had 4 shutout innings after that. In his last start in Tampa, everything worked right from the start. 8 shutout innings, only 4 hits. And so far it's only 2 hitters. It hasn't had that sharp breaking ball yet. Otherwise, with 2 strikes, he would have had a much better chance to get Jackson.
Here's Brennan Bosch. And again, Colby missing high. Bosch 0 for 10 against Lewis. Hot of late, 5 for 12 in the series on the south side of Chicago. 3rd round draft pick in 2006 out of Cal Berkeley. And he rips that one to right field. Cruz looks up and watches it land in the upper deck. A 3-run home run for Brennan Bosch. Number 6 of the year.
Well, the Tigers didn't let Colby get away with anything, and he hasn't had command yet, and they've made him pay for it. Kelly had been up 72 times and only walked 3 times, so he's a tough guy to walk. Jackson's only hitting 230, but he got a hanging slider. And then Bosch, Colby's having a hard time locating his fastball, gets a fastball right in the center square and hits a home run. So sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. And then the best hitter, one of the best hitters in the league, hits a weak ground ball to shortstop.
Yeah, if you'd said the Tigers are going to get 3 in the first, you figure Miguel Cabrera would have something to do with it. But look where that thing landed. 401 feet into the first row of the upper porch out there. Victor Martinez now DHing, hitting right at 300. Spent some time April, early May on the DL with a right groin. Since then, he has really been locked in over a little over a month. He's a .345 hitter. Just getting that one down, but too low. Martinez signed to a 4-year free agent contract last November after his 4th All-Star season. Finishing up his time with the Red Sox, 7.5 years with the Indians. Emerged as one of the best hitters in the league at 300 3 times, 20 homers 3 times, drove in 100 twice. Price was going to be more than the Indians could match, so they sent him to Boston at the .09 trade deadline. He hit .336 thereafter the rest of that year. .302 with 20 homers last year, his only full season with the Sox. Well, the scoreless inning streaks ending abruptly for Lewis and the staff. 12 straight for Colby, 18 straight for Ranger pitching. And he gets Martinez out in front there.
Colby's thrown 19 or 20 pitches so far in the first inning. He's thrown probably 10 pitches that he didn't throw at all in the Tampa game. I don't know that he hung a breaking ball. He hung a couple of them. You always do. You don't throw perfect pitches on every pitch. Just in this game, the Tigers didn't miss the ones that they had an opportunity to hit.
And that one just over Michael Young at first base, at into the corner. So Victor Martinez with the double on a ball that looked catchable off his bat right until it got over the mid of Michael.
He's trying to throw it down and away. Instead, it's right in the middle of the plate. So it's just a command issue right now. Throwing the ball where he wants to. It's, you can just look at the pitch tracker and see that.
This seemed to get on Michael a little quicker, perhaps, than he expected. Didn't have time to launch himself in any kind of jump. And Mike Maddox back with the team after watching his daughter Lexi graduate from high school over the weekend. Andy Hawkins filling in ably, moving back to bullpen coach now. So the first 5 Tigers, a single, a walk, a homer, ground out by Cabrera, double by Martinez on a 3-2 pitch. And here is left fielder Andy Dirks hitting .256. And a good first pitch curve. Dirks up from AAA Toledo May 13th. 3 days later made his major league debut. And a little pop up. Beltre gives chase and has room over there in front of the rolled up tarp. Dirks is out number 2. And with 2 outs, Johnny Peralta, the number 5 batter in the American League with a .320 average.
Beltre takes a look, makes sure he knows where he is, how close the wall is. Handles it easily. Yeah, Peralta's a career .263 hitter. So he's on his way to having one of his better seasons.
.320 with 8 homers, 31 runs batted in. And as a shortstop, he leads all American League shortstops with a .316 average. Second, 7 homers. Third, 29 runs batted in. Two balls and no strikes. Like a lot of the Tigers, he started to get things figured out in early May, and he is the top hitter in baseball since May 6th. Best on base percentage, best slugging percentage. Not bad to plug into your number 7 spot in the lineup. Endy Chavez lopes over into the gap. But a 3-run first inning for the Tigers. 3 hits. Brendan Bosch's 3-run home run gets them jump started tonight. Lineup in the American League. And today will be Ian Kinsler leading off with Andrews, Hamilton, Young, Beltre, Cruz, Moreland all behind him. That's becoming a pretty regular group. 1 through 7, Troy Alba and Endy Chavez batting ninth. Max Scherzer won his first 6 decisions, but in his last 2, Tom's not pitched well at all.
Yeah. Scherzer 6-2 on the season. He's got a good arm. Fastball reaches the mid-90s. He's thrown a lot of pitches, almost 17 pitches per inning. He has pitched against the Rangers in Detroit. Pretty good start, quality start, 6 innings, couple of runs, struck out 7 in that game. His last 2 starts have not gone very well. Pitched against the Red Sox, pitched against Minnesota. 2 innings against the Red Sox, 6 2/3 against Minnesota. He gave up 7 runs in both of those starts.
And like Colby Lewis, home runs have been an issue for Scherzer. 3 homers in 8 2/3 innings in those 2 starts, the 2 losses. 11 home runs for the year. His attitude about home runs, he says it's cost of doing business. Doesn't bother him in the least. 2-2 to Kinsler. No doubt relieved, if not delighted, to be back home, because on the road it is just not happening for Ian this year. He is 2 for his last 44. And hitting a major league low 123 away from Arlington. Back here, however, he's hitting 313. So in this park this year, we have seen the real Ian Kinsler. But here, trying to end an 0 for 19. And that's what he was doing with regularity on the road trip. Kelly in fair territory for the first out of the game. Tigers defensively 9th in the American League in fielding percentage. Dirks, Jackson, and Bosch in the outfield. Kelly, Peralta, Rayburn, Cabrera in the infield with Alex Avila catching Scherzer. Alfonso Marquez is the home plate umpire tonight, with Ed Hickox at first, Ed Rapuano at second, and Brian Onora at third. Elvis Andrus, quite the road trip. 2 for 3 yesterday with his 3rd home run, capping the scoring in the 2-0 victory.
You know, one thing Elvis did over the road trip, the 7 games on the road trip, he hit high fastballs back through the middle and into right center field on a line. He was getting on top of them, not hitting fly balls. He did a really good job of hitting behind in the count, and has his average over 280 now.
Comes in here with a 5-game hitting streak at 450. Boy, the Indians glad to see him go. He has hit in all 17 games he's ever played against Cleveland. That is the longest hitting streak for anybody against that franchise since 1937. At the beginning of a career, Wally Millie's hitting in his first 18 straight back in 1937. And he has a 1/3 of his career home runs against Cleveland. Goes after that one up in the zone, and Austin Jackson covers all the ground, gap to gap, as well as any young outfielder in baseball. Tracks that one down without too much trouble. 2 outs for Josh Hamilton. And let's welcome Emily Jones.
Well, guys, the month of June has been kind to the Texas Rangers, both this season and last. If you combine the last 2 Junes, they are 26-6, of course, undefeated in this June. And who better to ask about the month of June than a guy who tore it up last June, Josh Hamilton.
Point of the season where, we know what we expect from each other. We know what each person has to do, what their role is on the team, and guys are starting to execute those roles. And so it's good to be, have that center group of guys back together and move in the right direction.
Right on cue, Josh Hamilton with a single. And guys, it does seem like there is something about the month of June, both for this team and in particular for Josh Hamilton.
Boy, absolutely. That's what the results say. Rangers the last 2 Junes, 26-6, 5-0 this month. And Hamilton got a first pitch 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. First hit in 7 tries against Scherzer and brings up Michael Young. And Michael 0 for his last 12, coming off his first 3-game hitless streak of the year. Inevitable it would happen. Impressive that it only happened in the first week of June. But he has hit Scherzer very well. And Tiger pitching, he has devoured. He's hit in 15 straight at a clip of 443 against Detroit. So things may be set up for Michael to return to form. He has dropped to 6th in the American League in hitting at .319. But history in his favor in this series. Rick Porcello tomorrow. Left-hander Phil Koch will be activated to get the start on Wednesday. And as of now, it is still Matt Harrison listed to get the start tomorrow against Porcello. He still has not passed the kidney stone. But says it really only hurts him in the mornings. And if he feels tomorrow the way he did today, he expects to be on the mound. Did he check his swing? He did, says Ed Hickox. 2 balls and a strike. Michael struggling at Cleveland. Hit well at Tampa Bay, where the Rangers took 2 out of 3 and then pulled off their first 4-game sweep of the series on the road since April of '99. That one was at the Metrodome against the Twins. First 4-game sweep anywhere since here last May against Kansas City, and first 4-game sweep at Cleveland since August of 1978. The odd thing there was that series was also the last time the Rangers won 2 in a row without a single hit with a man in scoring position, which happened Saturday and Sunday. There goes Hamilton, and it is pop foul. 3-2. Rangers up to 8 games over 500 for the first time since they won 9 of the first 10 games of the year. And then, of course, the injury happened to Hamilton at Detroit. But they have come all the way back since then. Hamilton taking off, and it's a called strike 3. So Scherzer allows only the 2-out single to Josh in a scoreless first after 3-0 Tigers. Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Dave. Ranger fans looking for 6 in a row tonight, right? Huh? There we go. We're fired up about that. Have some work to do. You know, tonight in the community corner, we're talking about the Bobby Bragan Foundation. Bobby Bragan, of course, the former manager, longtime player, great friend of the Rangers, established his foundation back in 1991. What it does is he hands out scholarships and encourages kids to stay in school, pursue their educational dreams. You want to find out more? Get on the website, bobbybragan.org, and find out. Great organization, bobbybragan.org. Dave?
Yes, that is a wonderful way to honor his memory. One of the great men in baseball, certainly one of the great figures in Texas Rangers history, Bobby Bragan. Tigers sent 7 to the plate in the first. Got a 3-run homer from Brennan Bosch. Alex Avila, the catcher, takes ball 1. Leads all American League catchers by batting .282 and with 31 runs batted in. Third with 8 home runs. And Avila getting great results by getting a bigger bat, a lot bigger than that bat. Victor Martinez, early in the year, after watching him hit for a while, said that you've got really good hands. You could handle a heavier bat. So he recommended that he go from 31 to 33 ounces, and the results were immediate. Ball started jumping off his bat, and the power numbers bear witness. Martinez had the same advice work out for him and ignite his career back in 2007 when Jermaine Dye told him the same thing. You ought to go to a 33-ounce bat. He almost immediately became one of the top hitters in the league. He swings, and strike 3 gets through Torrealba, and he will reach.
Well, the bad news is he gets to first base. The good news is that was a great curveball that Kobe threw. Big breaking curveball. Got Avila to swing at it down low. And it goes right between Torrealba's legs. You won't see that very often. Just didn't get his glove down in time.
Haven't announced whether it's a wild pitch or a pass ball yet. Wild pitch as Ryan Rayburn steps in. Rayburn batting only .201, 5 homers, including yesterday his 3rd career grand slam, which was the difference in their 7-3 win at Chicago. And with Avila taking off, reaches out and swings at one out of the strike zone. Rayburn turned 30 earlier this year, native of Tampa, drafted in the 18th round 1999 by his hometown team. Didn't sign though out of Durant High School in Dover, Florida. 2 years later, he moved up 13 rounds, and the Tigers got him in the 5th round, 2001. Way out in front there.
Yeah, good news is the breaking ball is right where Kobe wants it in the 2nd inning. Didn't throw one like that in the 1st inning, but that's his strikeout pitch. And Rayburn does tend to strike out a little bit, but he made the good pitch and he got the strikeout. He got the strikeout of Avila as well. Just ended up getting to first base on the wild pitch. It went as a wild pitch, but it was a very blockable ball. Yorvik just didn't get his glove down.
It is the 3rd wild pitch of the year charged to Lewis. Here's Austin Jackson, who got that 1st inning started with a single to left on a 1-2 pitch. Now 6 for 11 all time against Lewis. Colby getting ahead, whereas in the 1st inning consistently falling behind. And Tom, this feels a little familiar. May 27th against the Royals, they got to him for a 3-run first, hopefully not a 3-run second, and then he settled in and finished 4 more innings and was almost perfect the rest of the way. And he gets Austin Jackson, second in the league in strikeouts. That's number 69. 3 strikeouts here in the second inning, but only 2 keeping anybody off the base paths.
Oh, when you establish your breaking ball, it makes the high fastball tougher to hit. And he tried to check his swing, got it started on a pitch well out of the strike zone.
High to Don Kelly, who walked in the first. Rangers ended up losing that game to Kansas City 12-7 in 14 innings. And Colby settling down allowed the offense to get cranking. And after he gave up 3 in each of the first 2, by the end of the Rangers second, they had a 7-6 lead. And that was all the scoring the Rangers would do the rest of that night. But the point being, he has had rocky starts and showed the ability to recover. This one is skied into right field. Up against the wall, there is room for Nelson Cruz. And with 3 strikeouts, 1 with the wild pitch, the Tigers go score. Mitch Moreland, you can sign up to be the Whataburger What-A-Fan. Don't miss this chance to win great prizes and to meet one of your Texas Rangers at Whataburger, the one at I-20 and Collins in Arlington. Sign up for a chance to win 4 tickets in the owner's seat September 13th against the Indians. Strike 1 to Adrian Beltre, who will be followed by Cruz and Moreland here in the second. Adrian, a 3-hit night in Cleveland Friday, 0 for 7 over the weekend. In a 3 for 17 at the moment. Moved up to cleanup yesterday with Josh Hamilton given the day game off. Michael Young batted third and a base hit to left field.
3 straight sliders, and he hit the third one.
Rangers' second hit off of Max Scherzer. Hamilton singled on a first pitch fastball in the first.
Not a bad pitch, outside corner. First 2 sliders were better pitches to hit than the last one. Beltre hit a number of balls hard in Cleveland that were caught. I think his 247 average is a little misleading. I think he's actually hit the ball a lot better than 247 would indicate.
Nelson Cruz steps in, trying to extend a 9-game hitting streak. 368 over the course of the streak. He's got his home run stroke back. Couple of long ones at Cleveland, including what HitTrackerOnline.com has as the longest in Progressive Field this year. Almost all the way up in the left field bleachers. The Indians first listed it as 440 feet. That didn't seem right. And the later update by HitTracker had it at 459 feet. 4 homers in his last 9 games for Cruz, and he was going for that one at 2-0. Three balls and a strike. Let's check our Ford leaderboard. And we're looking at extra base hits since May 23rd. Only Big Papi has more than Cruz and Carl Crawford, and Josh Hamilton right there with 9. That's the day they were activated, and the Rangers are 10-3 since then. Home run cut there. Maybe the best fastball yet from Scherzer. Gets it past him at 94. Scherzer, first round pick by Arizona in 2006 out of the University of Missouri, one of the top pitchers in college baseball at Mizzou. Didn't sign until the next year, right before the deadline, after playing with the Fort Worth Cats. Arizona traded him December of 09, a big 3-team deal with the Yankees. That was the one that sent Curtis Granderson to New York, Austin Jackson from New York to Detroit, Edwin Jackson, Daniel Schlereth, Phil Koch also involved in that. Cruz hanging in at 3-2. Scherzer says while he was with the Cats, their pitching coach Stan Hilton really helped him. Deserves a lot of credit for the improvement in his slider. Taught him how to make it sharper and harder. Who's out in front of that one? Changing speeds on him. Yanked it into the seats. Scherzer, one of the best strikeout pitchers in the American League. 7th in his strikeout rate of 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. And he gets Cruz on the 8th pitch of the at-bat, climbing the ladder at 95. Strikeout number 2, out number 1 in inning number 2.
Now he saw a lot of fastballs. He just swung one a little bit out of the strike zone. Close. It's a lot closer to the strike zone on pitch tracks than it looked, and a pitch that very seldom would be called a strike, if ever, by an umpire.
Now Mitch Moreland, who has moved into the top 10 in the American League, 9th, coming in at 313. 8 homers, 19 runs batted in. 2 hits, including the only run that C.J. Wilson would need yesterday. Going deep in the 2nd inning at Cleveland. And it's down as his 9th game-winning run batted in of the year. That is tied for the 2nd most in baseball. Hitting .462 over his last 11 games. 3 homers, 6 driven in. And Scherzer changes speeds well to get Moreland out in front, 1-1.
Scherzer throws mostly fastballs and sliders, but he has a really good off-speed changeup. Pretty tough to have any other kind of changeup, I guess.
Moreland against right-hand hitters, 4th in the majors, hitting .354. And here in Arlington, the best Ranger average so far this year, hitting .329 at home. Almost as good a home hitter as Michael Young is on the road. Scherzer just missing that one inside. So far, the issues that caused Scherzer the losses in his last 2 decisions, we really haven't seen. He's commanding his fastball and his change. That one is ripped to right field. Moreland timing that off-speed pitch well, and 2 singles with 1 out in the 2nd inning to bring up Yorvit Torrealba.
That's one of the reasons Mitch is such a good hitter. We saw the changeup earlier in the count, and all it took was see that pitch 1 time, and he waits on it. It's not a bad pitch. It's down and away. Goes down and just rips it right over second base.
Are pitchers who can, are hitters who can make that adjustment, see a pitch once and be ready for it and do something with it the 2nd time, born, or can that be coached?
I don't think you can really coach that. That's more pitch recognition, and you can get better with experience over time. But I think it's probably something Mitch has always been able to do pretty well. I don't think he's learned it, for instance, since he got to the big leagues. It's really not something you can teach. Go up and recognize a pitch and then hit it the next time. It's a lot of it's natural ability and the ability to recognize pitches. And I think that's one thing that makes 300 hitters as opposed to 250 hitters that can do that.
Line drive right at Cabrera and an inning-ending double play. So tough luck hitting for Yorvit. Rangers get nothing out of 2 hits and trail 3-0 after 2. Insurance, where 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by AT&T, rethink possible. Colby Lewis with a nice recovery in the 2nd inning after a rocky first, which featured a 3-run home run, 401-footer into the first row of the upper porch in right field by Brennan Bosch. He leads off the 3rd after hitting his 6th long ball of the year, now up to 30 runs batted in. Then Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez. Lewis settling down after the double by Martinez.
in the first inning. And in the second inning, credited with 3 strikeouts, one of which allowed Avila to reach on a wild pitch. Retired Kelly on a fly ball. And again, Bosch sends it deep and gone. The only question there, would it be fair? It was, and it was way back there. A 2-home run night for Brennan Bosch. 4-0 Tigers.
Bosch has got some big-time power. Big, strong kid with a nice swing. Last 2 years, he's gotten off to great starts and then cooled off a little bit. But he's been able to handle Kobe's fastball. He's hit 2 of them out.
Wanted one to Cabrera, who grounded to short on the first pitch in the first inning. Boy, look how high that one was up compared to that right field foul pole. Into the back of the seats down there in the corner. Well, Colby Lewis's home run issues had disappeared, as Tom documented, but so far here tonight, at least with Bosch at the plate, they have returned his 14th and 15th home runs allowed in 2011. .386 feet on this one. This for Lewis's 5th start. His 5th appearance, his 4th start all time against Detroit. 2-1, both wins last year, both here in Arlington. Rangers took the season series 6-3 last year over the Tigers, snapping 3 straight losing season series. So it's tough to get anything past Miguel Cabrera. Second in the league on base percentage, 3rd in runs and runs batted in, 5th in home runs, 2nd in walks. He has been held off the bases once in his last 42 games.
He's one of those power hitters who hits home runs and doesn't strike out that much. He's a good hitter. Last year he walked 89 times and only struck out 95 times, almost as many walks as strikeouts.
Cruz started back and does not make the catch on a slide, as he thought that was going to be harder hit than it turned out to be. This is not the usual night wind-wise. It's blowing in from left center field.
Yeah, the ball will not shoot out to right field tonight like it does on many nights. That ball was not hit that well. He hit it off the bad part of the bat. Just kind of a little blooper out there.
And it goes as a base hit. So the 5th hit already for the Tigers. Victor Martinez had one of their 3 in the first inning, a double. Ranger infield at double play depth. Martinez is grounded into only 2. That one just low. One thing the Ranger defense has done as well as any this year, maybe last in fielding percentage, but no one has turned more double plays. Moves up a little bit in the zone. 1-2. Martinez getting his big contract last November, and the next month turned 32. From Ciudad Bolivar, Venezuela. Hamilton, no more fighting the sun out there in left field. There's the first out of the Tiger third. That'll bring up the left fielder Andy Dirks, who fouled out to Beltre his first time up. Dirks yesterday a single, a double, drove in a run against the White Sox. He said called up mid-May, having a tremendous year, AAA with the Toledo club. Hitting .328 with them, 6 homers, 20 runs batted in, and can run. Stole 10 bases in 34 games there. Dirks, originally from Hutchinson, Kansas. He is 25. He played at Hutchinson Community College. Moved on to Wichita State. All-America there as a senior. Drafted in the 8th round, 2008. One of the best placed pitches yet from Colby, 1 and 2. Last time he was out there, he outpitched one of the best, David Price. 8 innings of 4-hit shutout ball at Tampa Bay. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. In a 3-0 win. Allowed only 2 Rays past first base on Wednesday. Tonight, it's been a night of adjusting after a first inning, which he got pounded. Bosch doing it again to him here in the third. And that one is hit well to right field. Cruz is back, and it is gone. Andy Dirks with a 2-run home run. 6-0 Tigers.
Well, you can't have your best stuff every game. And for 7 starts, with a couple of exceptions, an inning here or an inning there, Colby has had his best stuff. But today he hasn't. He's thrown a couple of fastballs to Bosch. This is a hanging breaking ball that Dirks takes advantage of. And it's just one of those days where even the best pitchers don't have their good stuff, don't make their normal pitches. And instead of popping them up or lining out, the other team takes advantage and hits the ball out of the ballpark. They've done that 3 times tonight.
That one traveling only 355 feet, but far enough. Dirks' third of the year. Tigers' 3rd home run of the night against Colby Lewis. And now behind Johnny Peralta, 3-0. Tom, when Rangers meet and talk about this Tiger lineup, obviously there's a lot of respect for Brennan Bosch, but the guys that no doubt get most of the discussion are Cabrera, Martinez, and Peralta.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, those are their big hitters. But it still boils down to, if a major league hitter gets good pitches to hit, they've got a chance to do some damage. And Bosch has good power. He's been up in a couple of situations where he's gotten fastballs to hit. And Dirks, if Colby makes his good pitch with a slider, he's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He just got a hanger, and he took advantage of it.
Peralta grounds out on a broken bat for out number 2. You can follow the Rangers with the MLB.com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit TexasRangers.com for details. Pretty quiet crowd tonight, expected to be somewhere around 30,000. Looks like it's going to be maybe a little bigger than that. Upper deck, there's a lot of folks in it. Low to Alex Avila, who led off the second by striking out, but reaching when the ball got through the right between the feet of Torrealba. Ruled a strikeout wild pitch. Lewis left him right there at first base, striking out Rayburn and Jackson and getting Kelly to fly to right. So his command there for an inning. It has deserted him again here in the third. And after falling behind Avila 2-0, he gets a foul. Ron Washington talking about the Tigers before the game. Very respectful, a lot of young talent, and he says when you have young talent, it's kind of a roller coaster ride. When they struggle, it's usually because they're so young, but when they play well, you really see that talent showing up. That's what we're seeing here in these first 3 innings. All 6 runs driven in by youngsters. Wash just turned 26. Dirk's just 25. That one sends Chavez back in center field, and that one is up on Green's Hill. Alex Avila goes deep for the 9th time this year. 4 Tiger home runs. 7-0.
It's very unlike Kobe based on what we've seen the last 6 weeks. But it just, again, it's just a night where he doesn't have command of the strike zone. And the Tigers are swinging the bat. You can't blame it all on the pitcher. You have to give credit to the hitters, too. You can get those same pitches and not be able to hit home runs. Like, that's not a terrible pitch. That ball's a fastball, not in the middle of the plate. It's kind of down and away a little bit. So you have to give some credit to Avila right there. He's the one that hit the ball out of the ballpark. And just because you get a good pitch to hit doesn't mean you won't pop it up or hit a ground ball at somebody. And the Tigers are swinging the bats tonight.
"33 pitches already this inning. 74 pitches through 2 2/3 innings for Lewis. 44 strikes. And the blast by Avila, 412 feet to straightaway center. His 9th of the year, 32nd run batted in. Leads all American League catchers in that latter number. Kobe has not failed to go at least 5 innings this year. That happened just twice back in April. Kinsler throws out Rayburn. And after a 3-run first inning, the Tigers come back with a 4-run, 3-home run third. They lead it 7-0. Bottom of the third, and Andy Chavez batting against Max Scherzer, to be followed by Kinsler and Andrews, and the Rangers with a little hole to climb out of here. Max Scherzer has allowed 3 hits through 2, singles by Hamilton, Beltre, and Moreland. And then a line shot by Torrealba that became an inning-ending double play. Chavez, a hit and a walk yesterday. The career .270 hitter over 10 years with a half dozen franchises comes into this homestand hitting .429. That is by far the best in baseball since he was called up in mid-May. 8 for his last 12. That is how it's been going. 4-hit night, 3-hit night on the road trip. This is his 13th start, 8 of which have come in center, the other 5 in right. 14 games, half of those he has at least 2 hits. 3-2.
He's taking that 3-1 pitch all the way. Down by 7. Want to get some base runners. Want to get a leadoff man on. Instead of just hacking away at the first pitch you see, 3-1. Make him throw 2 in a row. Try to get a walk. If not, you should see the same pitch again anyway. He's not going to throw you something other than a fastball, you wouldn't think. And you work the walk.
Let's go to Jim Knotts.
All right, Dave, inside home plate gate, the main attraction is online voting for the All-Star Game. All-Star Game, July 12th. Come to the stadium. You can vote in here on the computer. Also at home, vote, get online, vote Rangers. Who are we going to vote for, Big Rangers? Yeah! Come online, TexasRangers.com. There we go, TexasRangers.com, Dave.
All right, here's the guy who's been to small star games. Ian Kinsler, who popped to third to begin the game. And gets a good-looking breaky ball for strike 1. Scherzer issuing his first walk of the game to Chavez. Last thing he wants to do to a first batter with a 7-0 lead. He has thrown a few pitches, 18 in each of the first 2.
I mentioned before the game he's averaging about 17 pitches per inning, which is in the top 5 or 6 in the league as far as most pitches per inning for starting pitchers.
Line drive coming in. Dirks makes the dive, and it gets past him all the way to the wall. Chavez will score. Kinsler will make third. 7-1.
The Rangers had a little bit of bad luck last inning. 2 hits and a line drive by Torrealba turned into a double play. Looked like the bad luck was going to continue. Thought Dirks was going to come in and make this catch. It's a hard hit line drive that carries pretty well. It looked like he got his glove far enough, but he didn't get the ball in the glove. Let's take a better look at it. Nope, goes right underneath his glove. Didn't quite get to it. Nice try, but it ends up as a triple and an RBI for Ian.
Ian Kinsler safe at third, safe and secure. New York life. Elvis Andrews fly to center in the first. Tom, with a 7-0 lead, Dirk's learning things out there, but is there any reason to dive for that ball whatsoever?
I think if you feel like you can catch it, being aggressive, you can. I think there's a difference between being ahead 7-0 and being in a 1-run game late in the ball game where you don't want to make the runner, you don't want to let the runner get to second base, maybe as the tying run or the go-ahead run. But I think it's a little different early in the game where you've got a 7-run lead. I think if you feel like you can get it, then make your dive and try for it.
Well, Chavez, after the leadoff walk, first Tiger mistake of the inning, is home.
He had a shot at that ball. He missed it by a couple of inches and it got underneath his glove. But, the other side of it is you lay back, play it safe. Next guy gets a base hit. Next guy hits a home run, and you know, all of a sudden you've got 4 runs in. So I think you have to be aggressive. And if you're ever going to be aggressive, it would be when you're ahead suddenly.
Kinsler waiting until Scherzer commits to first base, and then he comes home to make it 7-2.
Now, Scherzer in that situation has to make sure he gets one out, and he doesn't have time to check the runner. If he fields this ball and worries about the runner at third, then Elvis has a great chance to be safe at first base. So he's got to get one out with a big lead, which he does, and Ian alertly stays off the bag, watches Scherzer, senses the throw to first, and scores easily on the play. Elvis picks up an RBI.
His 26th, scoring Kinsler after his second triple of 2011. Now Josh Hamilton. Same pitch that he singled to right on in the first, the only pitch he needed, 95 down the middle. And Josh climbing up to 323 now on the year.
I want to thank Shirley Coast for the welcome back batch of cookies, peanut butter kiss cookies and snickerdoodles. Thank you very much, Shirley.
Well hit to right, but just under it a little bit, and Bosch gathers that one in for out number 2. Emily?
Well, guys, Shirley Coast is multi-talented. Not only can she bake wonderful cookies, she also can knit beautiful baby blankets. She made me a very pretty baby blue blanket for our little Bambino who's on the way. So a huge thank you to Shirley. It was very, very kind and very, very pretty.
Isn't that nice?
It's not edible, though, Tom.
No, well, if you get hungry, we've still got cookies up here. We'll save you some, Em.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Young going after the first pitch, and Peralta handles it. But Rangers start chipping away, perhaps, against Scherzer and the Tigers. 2 runs, a walk, a triple, and a ground out, and it's 7-2. Against the Tigers, you'll enjoy a $1 off select draft beer, soft drinks, and water, plus a special weekday edition of postgame fireworks. Reserve your seats by calling 972-RANGERS or at TexasRangers.com. Got to get the fireworks in where you can when you're home for 3 games out of 20. Rangers briefly had Michael Kirkman loosening up in the 3rd inning. Colby Lewis at 77 pitches. As Austin Jackson bats for the 3rd time. Jackson before the game talking about, as usual, pretty good contingent coming up from Denver. Family, friends from Ryan, whatnot. Andrews has to hurry because this is one of the fastest runners in baseball, but he nips him by half a step. Well, the odd-numbered innings have not been kind to Colby Lewis. So far, no problems in the even-numbered innings. 3 strikeouts, worked around a strikeout wild pitch in the second. It's Jackson to begin the fourth.
And I think generally in this kind of a game, Ron might consider the long man a little bit earlier than normal. But I think he has to have a little bit of concern for tomorrow's game. Matt Harrison is pitching tomorrow, but he's missed a start. The blister should be okay. But he's had the kidney stone that's caused him some discomfort the last few days. So with some concern about Matt's start tomorrow, I think Ron wants to do whatever he can to keep the bullpen at full strength for tomorrow's game. And the other thing he knows is that Colby, as a veteran pitcher, can all of a sudden find his command, get his breaking ball back, and end up pitching several more innings. And that's kind of what he's hoping for right here. At least 5 innings, you would think.
Yeah, as we said, he's never gone less than 5 in any start this year. 2-2 to Kelly, who walked just before the first Brendan Bosch home run, the 3-run shot in the first. Elsewhere in the American League, Minnesota leading at Cleveland 6-4, bottom of the 8th. Rangers brought all kinds of woes upon the Indians. Base hit, Don Kelly has the 8th Tiger knock against Colby, 4 of which have left the yard tonight. Cleveland started the day just 2.5 games ahead of the Tigers, so if both these scores hold, then that margin, which was 7 games a couple of weeks ago for Cleveland in the Central, will have melted to 1.5. And when the Rangers came to town, they were up 5 games. Then came the 4-game sweep. Tigers taking 2 of 3 at Chicago. Well, we'll see what happens this time with Bosch, who hit one 401 feet to right. In the first, 386 feet pulled down the right field line, leading off the third. 3-run shot.
One of the good things about a veteran pitcher like Colby is he knows his fastball has been hit for a home run twice by Bosch, but it doesn't keep him from throwing his fastball. He just located it better, the first 2 fastballs, to run the count to 0-2 to Bosch right here. First 2 fastballs were up and a little bit hittable. Next 2 were down and away, and the count's 0-2. So it's not the choice of pitch, certainly not the velocity. It's just where you throw the pitch, command of the pitch.
And Kirkman up again with Colby at 86 pitches now. Bosch with his 4 driven in, now up to 31 runs batted in with 7 home runs. He bounces the breaking ball. 1-2. Oakland losing again, 4-2 at Baltimore. That game moving to the top of the 9th inning. The A's have lost 6 straight. They have fallen to 7 games behind the Rangers. 2.5 behind the 3rd place Angels in the West. Seattle 2.5 back, and they are trailing 1-0 at Chicago in the bottom of the 5th inning. Boy, Bosch just locked in on Colby Lewis tonight. He was 0 for 10 against him before this 3-hit 2-homer start. And out comes Mike Maddox again, and Michael Kirkwood, you would expect, will pick up the pace a little bit out in the bullpen.
Again, it's not the fact that Bosch has all of a sudden figured out how to hit Colby Lewis. He's just gotten some good pitches to hit. That's a hanging slider right near the center of the plate, and he's a good big league hitter, and he's going to take advantage of that.
That Seattle White Sox game, Michael Pineda, the spectacular rookie pitching for the Mariners, gave up a home run to Paul Konerko in the 4th. John Danks has allowed only 5 hits so far, shutting out Seattle. Still looking for his first win at 0-8. Toronto and Kansas City are 1-1, top of the fifth at Kauffman Stadium. And later on, Tampa Bay at the Angels. David Price outpitched by Colby Lewis last week against Chatwood. Price saying after the game, I pitched fine, and he did. Just not as good. He didn't get Colby on this night. Cabrera, Goodwood over Hamilton. He took the wrong angle. Kelly scores. Bosch will be held at third. It's a double for Cabrera. He's up to 44 runs batted in, and it is up to 8-2. It was well hit, but it looked like Josh would have a play at first.
Just a hard hit line smash by Cabrera, his second hit, and Ron Washington is going to make the pitching change. Just wasn't Colby's night tonight. That's all you can say.
He's gone after 89 pitches, 55 of them strikes. And it is his quickest exit of the year. 5 innings April 19th in a 15-4 loss against the Angels. And again, his next start, a 6-4 loss against the Blue Jays. And he departs here trailing 8-2 in the fourth. Hits. He struck out 3, walked 1, and the Verizon call to the bullpen brings in Michael Kirkman.
Well, Michael, his last couple of times out, he's thrown the ball really well. Fastball velocity has been up there as high as 95 against the left-hand hitters. And one outing in Cleveland had a terrific curveball that the left-hand hitters showed no inclination to being able to handle. And while he's been a starting pitcher most of his minor league career, he's found a nice little niche right now in the bullpen for the Rangers, and he's been effective in that role.
Thursday picked up his first major league victory. 3 innings, 1 hit ball in the spot start by Dave Bush, who, depending on the Matt Harrison kidney stone outcome, may have to do it again tomorrow. Kirkman giving up only a Matt Laporta home run in that game. Has retired 17 of 23 in 3 outings since being called up from Round Rock on Friday for his second stint of the year with the Rangers. And Victor Martinez turns around about right-handed. Sends it deep into right center field. Chavez runs it down. Plenty deep to bring Bosch home to make it 9-2.
Endy went a long way to catch that ball. Off the bat, it looked like it was a gapper. Endy just outran it, ran it down. Turns into a sacrifice fly and an RBI, but it could have been a double and 2 RBIs. Look how far he's got to go to get that. It's kind of slicing toward right field, too. But he gets back and has a relatively easy time making the catch.
RBI number 30 for Martinez. Second out of the inning. Brings up Andy Dirks, who fouled out in the first and hit his 3rd home run. A 2-run shot to right in the 3rd. And the second of 3 Tiger home runs in that 3rd inning. Gave you Dirk's numbers earlier in 34 games at AAA Toledo. And they were impressive across the board. He had 6 out there, batting almost .330. Here, Kirkman covering first as Young went after the ground ball, fielded by Kinsler. 4-1 to retire Dirks and end the inning, but 2 more runs on 3 more hits for the Tigers. It's Cruz and Moreland against Max Scherzer. Time for our AT&T trivia question. 2 players from the University of Texas drafted by the Rangers with the team's first pick. Your hint tonight, both were pitchers. Beltre singled leading off the 2nd inning. Max Scherzer in the 3rd. Touch for a couple of runs. Issued a leadoff walk to Chavez. RBI triple to Kinsler as Dirks missed a dive in left field, let it go to the wall, and Andrus with a ground ball back to the mound scored Kinsler. Tigers quickly though got those 2 right back in the 4th. And the line is now complete for Colby Lewis. 3 1/3, 9 runs on 10 hits, 3 strikeouts, a walk, 88 pitches, 55 strikes. Boy, Scherzer out there to throw strikes, get quick contact. That pitch not in the game plan. 2-2.
I think in a nutshell, when you just sum up Kobe's game, he didn't have his breaking ball, didn't have best command of his fastball. You combine that with the Tiger hitters having a really good night. They're swinging the bat. They're not missing. And the result is what you see. 9 runs in 4 innings.
Grounded up the middle, backhanded by Rayburn, but no play, and Adrian Beltre is 2 for 2.
Well, Beltre's due for a bunch of those. He's had a number of hard hit smashes that infielders have made diving plays on. So a little soft ground ball straight up the middle, infield hit. He's got a few of those coming.
Rayburn wisely eating that one. Nothing good could have come from a throw. Colby Lewis's earned run average jumped from 348 to 437. Almost one entire run. Nelson Cruz struck out his first time up. Just not catching up to the Scherzer heat so far tonight, which is saying something for Scherzer because Cruz has been hitting just about everything in his 9-game hitting streak. He's gone deep in 4 of those. Well behind that one at 1 and 2. Twins and the Indians now going to the bottom of the 9th up at Progressive Field. 6-4 Minnesota. Tigers will be very happy if the Twins can finish that one off, and if they finish this one off, they will have climbed to within a game and a half of the Indians in the Central Division. And will have gained 3.5 games just since Thursday. Talking to some of the Tiger personnel, I really get the impression that I think they agree with your assessment that over the long haul, Jim Leyland has more talent and definitely more pitching talent. People like Justin Verlander and Scherzer, and the Tigers feel that they will emerge as the best team in the Central over the course of this year.
Well, you know, time will tell, but you've got 2 top starters. And the other guy that's having a good season is Rick Porcello. Rick Porcello is a high #1 draft choice, got to the big leagues really quick. He's had some growing pains along the way. But Porcello's off to a really good start himself. He's 5-3. His ERA is under 4. He's a sinker ball pitcher. So they've got a good rotation. Joaquin Benoit will help them at the end of the bullpen, even though he struggled a little bit to start the season. Valverde's a very good closer. And they've got one of the best hitters in baseball in Miguel Cabrera, backed up by Victor Martinez. They should get Maglio Ordonez back, and then eventually Brandon Inge. So they've got a good blend of veteran players. They've got some young players that you don't know much about that have some promise. And when you all add it up, they expect to be a contender, and they should be.
Cruz on the 8th pitch of the at-bat sends it deep and gone.
He missed a couple of fastballs that were up, and when he struck out on a pitch that was up and a little out of the strike zone. That fastball was down a little bit, and he connected for the line shot home run to left center field.
He saw 8 pitches in his first at bat before striking out. The 8th pitch here, he was on it,
and it caught a lot of the plate.
Oh, the lost souvenir out there. Number 13 for Nelson Cruz. His 5th in 10 games. His 6th in 13 games. He is on one of those rolls. Not unlike how he began this season. 13 runs ties him for 5th in the American League with Miguel Cabrera and Big Papi. Mitch Moreland singled his first time up. Getting a second chance to look at the Scherzer changeup. He lined it to right field. This time dribbles it to first base. Right on top of the bag is Cabrera for the first Ranger out in the fourth. Again, the Rangers show they are far from conceding anything here. Ship back with 2 in the third. And the Tigers got those 2 back with 2 more here in the fourth inning. Home run by Cruz. 403 feet. And he now has a 10-game hitting streak. Torrealba hit it very hard first time up, but he lined it right to Cabrera at first, who stepped on the bag to double off Moreland and end the second, which had started with a single by Beltran, 1-out single by Moreland, and he hits it hard again, and that is into the left field corner. A double for Torrealba, and the Rangers teeing off here in the fourth against Scherzer.
Scherzer's given up 7 runs in his last 2 starts, and he's on his way to doing the same thing in this one. Pretty good fastball to hit. Pretty good job of hitting, too. It's in the center, but it's on the inside corner. And a good job by Jorvik to get the good part of the bat on that ball. Brought his hands in, hit it hard down the line. Rangers trying to keep this rally going.
9th double of the year for Torrealba. And Endy Chavez goes after the first pitch. 21 pitch inning. Only 1 out to show for it. Scherzer now 73 pitches, 47 strikes through 3 1/3. Colby Lewis gone after 3 1/3. 9 runs, 88 pitches. Scherzer's last 2 starts gave up 7 runs in each.
Well, he's struggling right here. He's got a great arm. Mid-90s fastball, good slider, good changeup. But his command hasn't been terrific today either.
Got Chavez to swing at his pitch there, 1-2. Same pitch, fouls it off his foot. They'll walk that one off. Our Southern Comfort getting after it tonight. This was Chavez tracking down a drive by Victor Martinez, which went as a sacrifice fly. First pitch thrown by Michael Kirkwood in the 4th inning. Scored Bosch from third. Chavez 2 years after the torn ACL and the microfracture surgery to repair it. Not as fast as he was, but plenty fast to do what the Rangers require of him.
That's nice when you're that fast and lose some of your speed and are still faster than most of us.
Like someday Josh Hamilton will only hit home runs 430 feet instead of 450 feet.
Eventually that day will come. The good thing is that Endy's still able to play center field. He hasn't been relegated to left field. He can still run well enough to play center field.
Scherzer tried to finish him off with the inside fastball and just missed. Looper into short left center, and Austin Jackson is there for the second out. Game is over in Cleveland, and the Twins have extended the Indians' losing streak with a 6-4 victory. That is 5 straight losses for Cleveland, 5 straight wins for the suddenly hot Twins, who just swept 4 at Kansas City over the weekend. So at this moment, the Tigers only 2 back behind Cleveland in the Central. Scott Baker gets the win. Rangers will see him later this week. He's 3-4. Josh Tomlin of White House, Texas, and Texas Tech loses for just the third time against 7 wins. Matt Capps his 8th save. Home runs by Asdrubal Cabrera, his 12th, and Michael Brantley his 5th. 6-4 Twins. The final. Ian Kinsler, who had a sinking line drive to left field. Dirks made a dive, missed it. It went to the wall, an RBI triple. Broken bat, but that's going to fall in front of Jackson. The play at the plate, Torrealba scores, and Kinsler takes second, and it's 9-5.
Not many teams in the league take second base on the throw-in from an outfielder better than the Rangers do. If the outfielder airmails the cutoff man, almost every hitter in the lineup hustles to first base well enough so that they can take that extra base. And in a game like this, that's a big thing. Get another man in scoring position. Nice 2-out hit to drive in a run by Ian. Jackson's throw to the plate is high, off the mark. Torrealba scores, and now you've got another man in scoring position for Josh Hamilton. And Jim Leland's on the phone. Rick Knapp is out talking to the pitcher. And what looked like a huge lead now is starting to dwindle a little bit.
Boy, it's also the difference between Ian Kinsler here and Ian Kinsler anywhere else. That's the first hit in 3 games of the runner in scoring position. Rangers 0 for 11 coming into this game. But Ian gets a sinking line drive. Should have been a single. Turned it into a triple last time. And a broken bat single falls in the shallow center here. And gets another run batted in. Left-hander Charlie Furbush is up way earlier than Jim Leland would ever have wanted to have to make any kind of call like this. In a game he led 9-2 just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I mentioned Josh Hamilton was coming up. I neglected our second place hitter, Elvis Andrus, who not going to share his runs with men in scoring position this year. Hopefully Josh will get a chance to hit. And speaking of Will, did you see who was right in the background there? George Will, sitting in the front row.
Huge baseball fan. Wrote a book about baseball. Met at work 20 years ago or so.
Oh, walk right here and it gets pretty interesting.
This is already a 31-pitch inning for Max Scherzer with a 7-run lead.
Well, he's going to pitch himself right out of having a chance to win this game. Starting pitcher has to go 5, and he's laboring to get out of 4. I mean, he's got great stuff. He tends to be still a little bit of a thrower right now, and not a pitcher, and something young pitchers have to learn.
3-2 to Elvis. Also a final, Baltimore 4, Oakland 2. The A's lose their 7th in a row. Start of the day, 7 back at Texas. 2.5 behind anybody else. Third place Angels, nearest competition for Oakland now. Their struggles continue. Ryan Mattis over Gio Gonzalez in that one. Kevin Gregg got his 11th save. And Elvis strikes out as Scherzer climbs the ladder on him. But the Rangers keep chipping away. 3 runs, 4 hits, a 2-run home run by Nelson Cruz. After 4, it's 9-5. Half of the 5th inning. And let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Draft day today. The 2 players from the University of Texas drafted by the Rangers the first round. Jim Gideon, 1975, and lefty Jerry Don Gleaton in 1979. We're going to get some draft day stories later from Tom Grieve, who has run the draft operations for the Rangers. In the meantime, we're joined by Steve Busby, and I'm interested in the psychological yin and yang of this game. First of all,
you're a psycho, Buzz.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's hear it.
That's right.
So you're Colby Lewis. You're one of the hottest hitters in baseball. What does it feel like to all of a sudden have that happen?
How about awful? Is that descriptive enough?
That's right to the point.
Yeah, just awful. It's easy to say, well, it's one of those nights, and you stand out there and you go through it, and there are close to 40,000 people watching you here, and how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on TV, and you say, I went and stunk it up. And that's about all you can say. It's part of the job. It's part of the business. It's going to happen. You'd rather it not happen, but I don't know anybody that's pitched more than a few games that hasn't had it happen to him.
What specifically did you see him struggling with tonight?
Virtually everything, to be quite honest. Colby was trying everything he possibly could, and I think Torrealba was trying to help him out by calling different sequences of pitches, different locations, trying to get his release point consistent, and nothing worked. It's one of those nights where every adjustment you try to make is kind of like spitting in the wind.
Well, Peralta strikes out. Kirkman has retired all 3 batters he's faced.
It's not because Colby didn't try. I mean, there was certainly never a lack of effort. You'll never accuse Colby, much less any of these Ranger pitchers, of that. But some nights, your best effort is just not going to live up to your expectations or your hopes even.
Now, you have Max Scherzer, who's out there with a 9-2 lead. Well, 7-0 lead. He gives up 2 in the 3rd. 9-2. He gives up 3 in the 4th. He's got to get another inning to get a win, and that's not even a certainty at this point. Have you been in that position?
Well, I would hope Max Scherzer isn't thinking about getting a W for himself. I hope he's thinking about, how do I turn things around to settle this ball game down to give my team an opportunity to win. That personal W is meaningless to me. But I'm not sure right now that 9 is going to be enough to win this game, the way things are going.
Kind of has that feel at this point. And Kirkman going right after Alex Avila, 0-2.
With Scherzer, you can almost see, Dave, him standing out there after his last 2 outings and saying, here we go again. I can't believe it's happening. 7 runs 2 outings ago, 7 runs last outing. Tonight, he's given a huge lead and can't get it done for himself.
2 very different but uncomfortable feelings. And another strikeout. Avila strikes out for the 2nd time. He reached on the wild pitch in the 2nd.
How about Michael Kirkman? Have you been pretty impressed with him coming out of the bullpen?
Yeah, I have. I thought in Cleveland he did a very good job of being effectively wild. He walked the first guy in an inning a couple of times, worked around it just fine. But I like the way he's taken to the bullpen this year, especially. He looks much more sure of himself to me. He has a better idea of what he's supposed to do in these situations.
Strike 1 to Ryan Rayburn. Well, really, the shocking thing about Colby Lewis's results tonight is it goes so completely against what the rest of the staff has been doing. I mean, Buzz, last 24 games, that's a huge chunk of the season. The staff ERA has been .254. Did you have any idea this group had that kind of pitching in them?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not surprised by it. Was I confident enough to say it was going to happen? Probably not. But I'm not surprised because guys are pitching the way they're capable of. I don't think anybody is pitching beyond his capability. I think C.J. Wilson is doing exactly, and he's had a couple of rough spots, but I think he's doing exactly what he is capable of doing. I think Colby Lewis is capable of that. He showed us that last year. Ogando is the one guy that you can say you weren't sure about at all because you didn't know.
Well, we'll continue this discussion with Steve Busby. Michael Kirkmas retired all 5 batters. He gets the side in order in the 5th. Rangers down by 4. We invite you to join the Rangers for Twitter Tuesdays this season. Every Tuesday afternoon, a different Rangers player, coach, or executive will answer the questions you tweet. Find details on tomorrow's edition at TexasRangers.com/Twitter Tuesday. Hamilton, Young, and Beltre in the 5th. Max Scherzer gets a first pitch pop-up. And it will be the third baseman, Kelly, squeezing it, exactly what Scherzer needed after his struggles in the 3rd and the 4th. And Buzz, before the game, Tom Gree was making an interesting comparison. Max Scherzer versus Derek Holland. And look at the numbers, almost identical down the line. And you got in Scherzer a high first-round pick who was a college star, a Big 12 pitcher of the year, age 26. With Derek Holland, you have no college. You have still, relatively little experience, but a left-hander at age 24. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing that strikes you when you see those numbers lined up?
How similar they are. I don't know what you're trying to get at. The comparison is obvious this year.
Backhand bobble by Peralta. The throw not in time to get Young. Well, when Tom threw that out, the first thing that struck me was, and we discussed it a little bit, if you tell people in baseball, all right, you got a choice, Max Scherzer or Derek Holland.
Okay.
Don't you think most people say, oh, man, I'll take Max Scherzer? But he's 2 years older, right-hander versus left-hander. And where are they today? Pretty much the same place.
Well, for 2 months of this season, they are.
Yeah, the point that I was trying to make is how patient you have to be with young pitchers. And a kid like Derek Holland got to the big leagues quickly, did not have a lot of minor league experience. He didn't come from extensive college experience, and he's only 24 years old. And so along the way, he has some growing pains. He has some starts that he shows some inconsistencies. And the point is, at the same stage of the season, his numbers are the same as Max Scherzer's, right, who's a little bit more well-known, came from a huge college program, 11th pick in the draft, and he's had his inconsistencies as well. So if you've got a guy like Derek Holland, who's 2 years younger and now is much stronger, consistently holds his velocity at 94 to 95 miles an hour. Last couple of times out, it's been that way in the 9th inning. The point is, don't be disappointed when there's a little blip in the radar and you see an inconsistent outing, because you have to expect that with a young pitcher.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. That's and those numbers will tell you how deceiving I think a statistical snapshot, which is all stats are anyway, can be of what the future holds in store for either pitcher. And you take somebody that's been around for a little while and look at Max Scherzer, you're going to have some people that say because of his motion, he may not last as long as Derek Holland.
A high fly ball for Dirks out in left field. There's the second out.
Plus, with Derek being left-handed, you know, that adds some pus to his to having him around. So yeah, numbers can be used to say just about anything you want, but if you put everything together, like Tom said, and you have a young package that is improving, that's invaluable, and you do have to be patient with it.
Yeah, you're right, and the comparison, the numbers in a short sample of 11 starts is just something that's curious. It doesn't mean anything. But I think the thing is, even if Derek's numbers were different, even if he was 3-3 and his ERA was 5.34 instead of 4.34, if you're seeing the 95-mile-an-hour fastball and you're seeing a good breaking ball, but you're seeing inconsistencies with command and you're seeing a pitcher that doesn't get out of all the jams he gets into in the 5th and 6th inning. But he's only 24 years old. He's not experienced. He's just starting to come into his own. You have to have the patience and believe how bright the future is.
And I said he doesn't have college experience. He didn't have major college experience, junior college, but nothing like Scherzer at Missouri.
Yeah, and the college he has is not much competition and not a lot of innings. So it's, you know, it's not a significant fact.
Boy, but he was as impressive Saturday night as Alexi Ogando has been in any particular game where Lewis or C.J. Wilson just really showed where his upside can get you.
Well, the other comparison you can make is compare him to David Price. David Price was the first pick in the draft. He was a consensus first pick in the draft. He was a kid who was expected to get to the big leagues and succeed quickly, which he did. He's one of the best left-handers in the league. So what's the difference between David Price and Derek Holland? Well, they both throw pretty hard. Maybe Price throws a little harder, but Price is experienced. He's been there, and he can command his fastball a little bit better than Derek.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean Derek's going to beat David Price? I don't have the slightest idea, but I think it's going to be fun to find out.
Sure. Well, the Rangers get the error by Peralta. That's it for the 5th. That's it for Steve Bubsby. As always, we enjoy it.
Talk to you after the ballgame.
Rangers trail the Tigers 9-5. We head to the 6th inning, and Dave and Tom, time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be Susan, because Susan and Mark celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary. How about that, Elvis? Pretty good. And Susan, how come the ballpark?
Because I love the Rangers.
There we go. And then here's the bag, here's the hat, here's the shirt. Congratulations, Mark. A tip for staying married 37 years.
Say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. There you go. All right. Happy anniversary. Congratulations, progressive fan of the game there. Dave.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you never go wrong with those two words. 6th inning. Michael Kirkman has retired all 5 Tigers he has faced. Austin Jackson set the tone with a leadoff single off Colby Lewis in the 1st inning. Scored on Bosch's first home run, the 3-run shot. He has since struck out and grounded out. This one is hit well to center field, and it is off the wall. Over the head of Chavez. Austin Jackson has a 2-hit night, a double to lead off the Tigers' 6th inning.
Well, I'm sure Austin Jackson enjoys coming home and playing in front of friends and family, and showing them the kind of player he's become. Having a good night. See the fastball to hit. And Michael's trying to throw that a little more on the outside corner instead of the middle. And he hit that, almost hit it out of the ballpark.
He can do that. He's got 3 homers this year. Don Kelly, a walk, a single, and has scored twice. And gets the bunt down to advance Jackson to 3rd. Tigers looking for more runs here. What was a couple of times a 7-run lead chopped to 4. Rangers showing no signs of cooling off offensively. Now hitting star of the night against Colby Lewis, Brennan Bosch. 3-run shot in the 1st, his 6th of the year. Leadoff home run wrapped around the right field foul pole in the 3rd. Singled and scored in the 4th. A double and a triple, and he's really got history, but he's got the kind of start tonight that you think about what may be possible. He was heating up over the weekend. 5 out of 12 against White Sox pitching. White Sox have added a run against the Seattle Mariners in the bottom of the 7th. Now lead 2-0 in the top of the 8th. And this one will reach the seats.
Fastball, that one caught the middle of the plate. Next fastball is up and in a little bit, and he's able to turn on that one as well.
Bosch called up late April last year after 15 games at AAA. And immediately won American League Rookie of the Month in May and June. Had a huge drop off in the 2nd half. He was hitting .342 with 12 homers, 49 runs batted in at the break. 163, 2 homers, 18 runs batted in after. And another hit off the mitt of Michael Young. He'll get a double out of this. He'll bring home Jackson and make it 10-5 Tigers. A 4-hit night. We're only in the 6th inning.
You can't swing the bat much better than Bosch has swung the bat tonight. The single was well hit, and the double was well hit. He handles left-handed pitchers pretty well. It's a fastball. Almost turned into an out, but that was a smash.
Rangers playing the infield in, so Michael with very little reaction time there. 5 runs batted in tonight for Bosch. 32 now for the season. A career night. Now Cabrera will be walked with first base open to get to Martinez. Cabrera is grounded out, singled, and doubled in a run in his first 3 trips.
Yeah, not many people are going to pitch to Cabrera in that situation with first base open. Number one, he's a great hitter. Number two, you at least set up the opportunity for a double play with Martinez batting. He's a good hitter himself, so it's not necessarily something that's easy walking Cabrera to face Martinez. He's a good hitter in his own right. Both Cabrera and Martinez are good 300 hitters who don't strike out very much. They walk almost as much as they strike out.
So 2 on, a run in, 1 out. This is Kirkman's game. Rangers bullpen is quiet. This is the third 4-hit game in Bosch's career. 5 RBIs is a new career high. The last 6 series between the Rangers and the Tigers are dead even, 9 apiece. Look at all the come from behind wins. Half the games feature those. 2 wins for the Rangers, 4 for the Tigers in their final at bat. And there have been the occasional offensive explosions as well. Rangers will need to keep rallying because the Tigers keep scoring. Chance for much more here in the 6th inning. Martinez 1 for 2, a double, an RBI on a sacrifice fly, and Michael Kirkman now working through the Tiger order, beginning with the 2nd time. Kirkman, the first batter he faced, and sent Chavez in front of the Ranger bullpen to haul in a drive that scored Bosch back in the 4th inning. That made it 9-2. Rangers came back with 3 in their half of the 4th. But Detroit answering here in the 6th. Kirkman not throwing many pitches. This is only his 27th. But it's 2-0. Martinez not quite the hitter from the right side that he is lefties. 310, 5 homers from the left side, 273 right-handed, no homers. Knocks the glove off of Kirkman, who recovers to get the out at first base.
Yeah, it's not very often that you see a pitcher or anybody running after the ball without his glove on, but he got the job done. If he was able to catch the ball, it would have been a simple double play. Got a slow runner at first and a slow runner at the plate, but it was hard hit, and you have to remember, when the pitcher lets go of the ball, he's only about 50 feet away from the hitter, and it's a one-hopper. Slows it down, has the presence of mind to stay with it and get the easy out at first base, so he gets 1, if not 2.
Charlie Brown style. So the 2nd out. Bosch now at 3rd, Cabrera at 2nd. Here is Andy Dirks, 1 for 3. His 1 hit, a 2-run home run in the 4-run Tiger 3rd. His 3rd of the year. Kirkman, for the most part, showing that type of spot-on command. Kirk showing power last year in the minors, 15 home runs at AA Erie and AAA Toledo. Pretty much dominated AAA last year, hitting .375 in 22 games there, and this year 328 in 34 games. So Bagley Ordonez still rehabbing his right ankle weakness. The official diagnosis keeping him out since May 11th.
He popped that according to our radar gun at 97 miles an hour. I don't know if that was a faulty radar gun reading or if Michael actually popped it up there at that speed. Popped a bunch of them his last outing at 95, so I guess it's not out of the question. But if that's a legitimate reading, his velocity's ticking upwards as well.
Well, this clock here generally still conservative compared to the rest of the American League guns. Foul tip. Torrealba upset that he couldn't hang on.
And that one was 95, so there's a chance that it could have been 97.
Kansas City probably would have showed that one's 99 or 100.
Yeah, theirs might have been a tad high. But the radar gun readings for Colby tonight look pretty normal. What he normally is, 88, 89, 90, 91-ish, right around in there. So they seem to be accurate. Just shows that Michael's getting stronger and throwing harder.
Goes to the breaking ball and gets a pop-up into shallow left. Josh Hamilton is there. Tigers get a run on a couple of doubles. They leave 2 in scoring position and lead by 5. Headed to the bottom of the 6th. Tonight's jackpot is worth $700 and dinner for 2 to Sonic Drive-In. And tonight the Rangers are hitting for Andrea Degnan from Mesquite. If a Ranger hits a grand slam during this inning, Andrea Degnan from Mesquite will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Got the name right, Andrea. Mitch Moreland leads off the 6th against the new pitcher. Left-hander Charlie Furbush is on. 25-year-old from South Portland, Maine. 4th-round draft pick in 2007. Out of St. Joseph's College, 2 years, and LSU his junior year in 07, and on for the 5th time this year.
Been pretty much a starting pitcher coming into this season throughout his minor league career. Off to a pretty good start in his big league career. Strikeout per inning. Good opponent's batting average, great ERA, short sample.
He last worked 3 days ago at Chicago. Last 5 outings, 1-0 with an 0.77 earned run average. 1 earned run, 11 2/3 innings. With 11 strikeouts, only 8 hits and 5 walks in that span. Major league debut, first victory. May 23rd against Tampa Bay, 3 2/3 innings, 3 strikeouts. And what was the longest outing by a Tiger reliever in his major league debut since 1991. Up from Toledo May 21st, where he was leading the International League with 55 strikeouts, almost exclusively a starter in the minors. And he gets a high pop to Bosch out in right field. Mitch Moreland now 1 for 3. And that brings up Yorvi Torrealba, who doubled and scored in the Ranger 3-run fourth. Furbush 6'5", 215. 20-17 with a 380 earned run average in his first 4 seasons coming up the Tigers system. And there's an interesting draft twist to Furbush, this being draft night. Tigers liked him enough to take him in the 4th round. Although his year at LSU, he went 3-9 with a 495 earned run average in 16 outings. What stood out to them, a strikeout per inning. 88 strikeouts, 87 in the 3rd inning. And Tom Grief, having run drafts, many years being a part of that process, something like that, especially from a left-hander, I'm sure just, made the results to that point much less important than what they saw as the potential, which he appears to be reaching.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that's what a good scout does. A good scout doesn't scout performance. He doesn't go into a town and pick out the lineup card and see that a pitcher's ERA is 1.2 or how many walks he has. All that stuff's important. But you look at the pitcher and you see the delivery. What are his pitches? And is he projectable? For instance, does he have room to put on weight? Does he have a good delivery? Does he have the kind of delivery that might make him injury prone as his career goes on? And then you try to project that. And the veteran scouts have seen a lot of pitchers over the years, and they try to remember guys they've seen that looked like that had the same delivery, and how did it work out for them? And so it's more projecting what you see than it is just looking at the statistics. Certainly statistics play a role in it, but you have to project the performance based on what you see and what you project. Obviously, scouts grade tools. It's important. What kind of velocity does a pitcher have?
Well, there's an interesting offer.
A clever way, and it worked to get on television right there.
Mom's okay with it, apparently.
Well, there's probably not much in the piggy bank.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
Well, he's got a glove. Chances are he's going to be ready to catch it. Looks like a ball player.
So $700 from Sonic and the value of the piggy bank. But it's not going to happen as Chavez grounds out to Peralta. 1, 2, 3, 6th inning for Charlie Furbush. And we go to the 7th, still 10-5 Tigers. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. By Steel, for dependable trimmers and lightweight blowers, visit steeldealers.com. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout days. 7th inning, Dave Barnett along with Tom Grieve, 10-5 Tigers. Michael Kirkman has been on since the 4th, and in 2 2/3 innings has allowed 1 run on 2 hits, a couple of strikeouts, and 1 intentional walk. Bottom third of the Tiger order here in the 7th, Peralta, Avila, and Rayburn. Colby Lewis in his shortest start of the year, gone after 3 1/3 and 88 pitches, 9 runs, 10 hits, 3 strikeouts, a walk, 4 home runs. He's up to 17 home runs for the season. And that one is hit deep toward the left field corner and off the top of the wall. Peralta slides in safe with a leadoff double, his first hit of the night. And the 3rd double allowed the last 2 innings off of Kirkman.
Well, you have to say this is a night where the Tiger hitters pretty much throughout the lineup are swinging the bat. And they've got a lot of good pitches to hit, but you get a lot of good pitches to hit in a lot of games where you don't have 13 hits and 10 runs through 6 innings. So credit their hitters for a good night.
Alex Avila has chipped in. He had a home run in the 3rd inning. 412 feet out to center, showing bunt. Corners charge. 5-run lead in the 7th. Obviously, the Tigers consider the need great for more offense, knowing full well what the Rangers are capable of, especially here in this park. They're 3 for 7 tonight with runners in scoring position. Maybe up by 9 or 10. Jim Leyland might feel safe. Not here at 10-5. Avila showing bunt again, 1-1. Swinging away, strike 2.
Good slider right there for Michael.
Beltre had him played perfectly. Expecting him to pull well off the line over there at 3rd. And Avila the first out here in the Tigers' 7th.
Yeah, Avila hit that ball pretty well. Almost shot it right by Beltre. But with a man on second, nobody out. Rangers pick up an out. And Peralta stays at second. They thought about sacrificing him to 3rd. Decided to let Avila swing away. Almost had a base hit. Instead, it's an out. Peralta stays at second.
Ryan Rayburn 0 for 3 tonight. A strikeout, 2 groundouts. Tampa Bay has jumped on the Angels early. 2 runs in the 1st against Chatworth. David Price now takes them out in the bottom of the 1st out in Anaheim. In the bottom of the 8th, the White Sox have added a run against Seattle, now leading 3-1. David Pauly now pitching for the Mariners. Michael Pineda started that game. Let's check in with Emily.
Well, guys, plays like that have earned Adrian Beltre a nickname on the Spanish broadcast. Elena Ornelas told me that when he makes plays like that, they call him manos mágicas, meaning magic hands. Like it?
I like it.
Love it.
I like it a lot.
Me too.
Nicknames sound better in another language.
Yeah, they do.
Doesn't it? Yeah, manos mágicas. It sounds even better when Elena says it.
Even insulting nicknames. Manos de Piedro, remember? Roberto Duran.
Stonehands.
And then that was a good nickname, and then it became No Mas. And No Mas was his nickname, and that sounded okay.
There's been a few baseball players with the nickname Manos
yeah.
Piedras or whatever it was.
Not complimentary in those cases.
Yeah, Stonehands doesn't go good for an infielder.
So one team in the West has already lost. Oakland falling at Baltimore 4-2. And the A's losing streak now 7. Seattle about to bat in the 9th, down at least 2. And the Angels scoreless in the bottom of the 1st, down 2-0 to the Rays. So if the Rangers can't come back, looks like it might be a good night to take one if you have to. Cruz racing back, looks up, and has room on the warning track. The second out, plenty deep to get Peralta to third. Rayburn 0 for 4. Austin Jackson will bat for the 5th time. And Tom, we've talked about projecting and trying to figure out what young talent might be able to do. Austin Jackson at age 12 and again age 15 was written up nationally by Baseball America magazine as the top age group player in the country. They said he was the best 12-year-old baseball player in the country and again the best 15-year-old baseball player. So he had that kind of expectation on his shoulders already growing up in Denton.
Yeah, and that's fun to read that stuff, but until you get to be about a junior in high school, it's pretty silly to try to pick the best 12-year-old, because let's face it, how in the world do you know who all the 12-year-olds are? You know, once you get to the top of the pyramid, so to speak, and you're well scouted and scouts have seen all the high school players, you know, now you can start to pick out who the best are. But how many 12-year-olds don't even get seen? And how would Baseball America have the slightest idea who the top 12-year-old is? Now, the kids that are picked, the top 12, 13, 14, they're all great players, but the ability to scout all their peers is pretty limited.
Well, when I first saw that, I remember when it happened, and then I got a chance to ask him about it last year. He was very sheepish about it. I would think you could react one of two ways. It could give you maybe too much confidence and inflated head. And in his case, I think it had the opposite effect, and it seemed to kind of embarrass him.
Well, I don't know what the normal reaction is. It's kind of flattering, I guess, number one, to see Baseball America as a 12-year-old and have someone say you're the best 12-year-old. But I think the reality would have to be probably shown to you by your parents when they say, look, all that means is you're a really good player, but you already know that. As far as the best player, there's no way to know who the best 12-year-old is because most of them aren't even seen at that age. All 12-year-olds don't play on traveling teams. Players that end up being the best players when they're 18 or 19 might not even be playing baseball very much when they're 12 years old. So who really knows? I think in Austin Jackson's case, it was proven. He was a very good 12-year-old, but he was also a great basketball player, and he became an excellent major league player. So Baseball America was pretty much proven right by picking him as their best 12-year-old.
Yeah, the years later, they looked very smart.
Yep.
Well, after walking Jackson, Ron Washington against pinch hitter Danny Worth will go to Yoshi Tateyama. And he will bat with runners on the corners. 2 outs in the top of the 7th, trying to keep it a 10-5 ball game. Go head-to-head for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Chase Field in Phoenix, 7 p.m. only on Fox. 35-year-old from Japan, Yoshi Tateyama, on to try and get the last out of the 7th inning. It will be against right-handed pinch hitter Danny Worth, batting for Don Kelly, with Johnny Peralta at third after a leadoff double and Austin Jackson at first after an intentional walk. Tateyama's numbers in his first 4 outings. Michael Kirkman went 3 1/3, same as Colby Lewis, with much better results. At this point, 1 run, 3 hits, struck out 2, and his only 2 walks were both intentional.
Yeah, Tateyama's a fun guy to watch pitch. He's unconventional. He's a finesse pitcher. His fastball is below average, but he's got a nice changeup that he throws to a left-hand hitter, big curveball that he'll throw to a right-hand hitter, and really good command. Plus, he's not scared. He's 35 years old. He's been at the top of his profession in Japan. Well, he's got a good idea what he's trying to do out there. His tools are limited, but he's got a lot of know-how, and he's been in these situations before.
And drops in that slow breaky ball. It is over on the south side of Chicago. The White Sox have defeated Seattle 3-1. So the Rangers, if they lose here, will still be 2.5 up on the Mariners in the American League West. John Danks finally gets his first win after starting 0-8. And the White Sox, the first team to beat Michael Pineda, besides the Rangers, who have beaten him twice. He drops to 6-3 despite a .233 earned run average. Saved by Sergio Santos is 11th. Paul Konerko, a solo homer in the 4th. White Sox 3, Seattle 1. Base hit to center field. Peralta scores to make it 11-5. And a pinch hit single for Worth. This called up from Toledo May 27th.
Now that one comes back and catches the middle of the plate. He's got good movement on his fastball, but that started out on the outside corner, and then the movement unfortunately brought it right back to the center of the plate.
Well, here's Brennan Bosch looking for his first career 5-hit game. He has his third 4-hit game. He has a career high 5 runs batted in, a 3-run homer in the first, a leadoff homer in the third, a single and a run scored in the 4th, and an RBI double in the 6th.
And there's no bloopers involved here either. Every one of them's been a rope.
Lifted his average 16 points tonight. Homers up from 5 to 7, RBIs from 27 to 32.
He's another guy that doesn't walk a whole lot, but it's not a big strikeout guy either. There's that slow changeup that he throws. Goes down and away to a left-hand hitter.
Carlos Guillen hit for a cycle August of 2006. Bosch a triple away here. He has yet to hit a triple this year. He hit 3 triples last year. Tateyama won't throw much harder than that. He'll top out high 80s. Toronto, Kansas City 2-2, top of the 8th at Kansas City. Bottom of the second at Anaheim. Still 2-0 Tampa Bay over the Angels. Minnesota has beaten Cleveland 6-4. Baltimore over Oakland 4-2. And again, the White Sox 3, Seattle 1.
Doing that same fastball 3 straight times. Inside, coming back toward the inside corner. Took one, missed one, and popped one up.
Tigers in the 7th. Another run on 2 base hits. Youth baseball leagues in your community. If you would like to learn more about Chevy youth baseball programs, go to youthsportswired.com. Charlie Furbush throwing only 9 pitches to get the Rangers in order in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kinsler, Andrus, and Hamilton top of the order here in the 7th. He came on after Max Scherzer labored to get through 5 innings, throwing 98 pitches, allowing 5 runs on 8 hits, 4 strikeouts, and a walk. Colby Lewis for the Rangers, just 3 1/3, allowing 9 runs on 10 hits. His ERA jumped almost a full run. Kirkman in his 3 1/3, 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 strikeouts, the 2 intentional walks, and Tateyama on to finish the 7th, and apparently will be back out there for the 8th. National League, Colorado won San Diego 0, bottom of the 2nd. Washington won San Francisco 0. Nationals batting top of the 2nd against Tim Lincecum. Phillies beat the Dodgers 3-1 behind Cliff Lee. He evens his record at 5-5. Beating Ted Lilly, now 4-5. Ryan Madsen gets his 13th save. And Ian Kinsler gets another hit and a 3-hit night. He returns home and returns to form.
I like to see him hit those line drives to right field. Like when he's at his best, he's mixing in a lot of these. And that's a pitch away. Just what you should do with that pitch. Nice base hit right there.
Elvis 0 for 3, drove in a run on a ground out in the 3rd, scoring Kinsler after his RBI triple. Reds beat the Cubs 8-2. Mike Leake now 5-2. Matt Garza falls to 2-5. Hugely disappointing results after coming over from the Rays. Brewers win again 7-2 at Florida. Their 4th straight, 8th of their last 11. Zach Greinke improves to 5-1. Brewers at this point kind of the National League version of the Rangers. They've gotten about equally hot at approximately the same time. And they are just 2 games behind St. Louis. Now a game and a half as they pick up the win in Miami tonight. Could be 2 if they hurry. They get it done. 5-4-3. Second Tiger double play of the night. First was on a line out double up situation off the bat of Torrealba back in the second.
Well, nice job of turning it. It's not a hard hit ball. Worth makes a good throw, and Rayburn does a nice job of turning it. Rayburn's a pretty versatile guy. I've seen him play the outfield as well as second base. Not a lot of guys playing second base in the outfield around.
Josh Hamilton singled on the first pitch he saw from Scherzer, and later fly to right and pop to third. No 2 pitch. Charlie Furbush in now just about 13 innings. What a start for him. 1 run allowed on 9 base hits. His ERA at the moment is 0.68. Impressive early results after being called up. And Hamilton thought about going after that one. 2-2. Their bullpen looks completely different than a couple of months ago when the Rangers were up in Detroit. Their roster features 7 names who were not part of that series. Peralta on the backhand. And despite the leadoff single by Kinsler, Furbush for the 2nd straight inning faces the minimum 3. And we go to the 8th, still 11-5. 11-5 Detroit. And momentarily, we are anticipating a talk between Jim Knox and the Rangers general manager John Daniels. Rangers have made their first couple of picks in the draft tonight. JD will fill you in on exactly who they have selected. But Tom, having been in his position, run the show, what is it like in the war room on nights like tonight?
I think it's an extremely exciting night because the scouts, whether you've got 15 scouts or 30 scouts, it's the culmination of 5 or 6 months of tireless work. The area scouts drive, sometimes some of the scouts drive 40,000 miles a year looking at players. If you got the state of Texas, you drive from, you know, Lubbock to Longview to Corpus Christi, try to find players. The supervisors fly all over the country. Cross-checkers pretty much are on a plane every day. They see a top player in a different place almost every day. Occasionally they'll go to a tournament and see 3 or 4 at the same time. So you get all of that work, and then you try to compile your list. How do you rank the players? Then you have to factor in signability. What's it going to cost to sign the players? And so when you sit there at the start of the draft, you can feel the anticipation, the excitement, and the way that the scouts hope that they're able to get some of their players. You know, you only pick once every round for the most part, and you may have a great player that's picked before your team gets a chance to pick, and you lose your chance to get your player. So there's also some disappointment. And then when the draft is over, you've drafted your 50 players. Now it's time to go out and try to sign them. And now you sign your players. There's the anticipation of how are they going to do. They go out to their rookie league team. And then as their minor league career unfolds, you look back 4 or 5 years later and see how your draft turned out. Gets a strikeout of Cabrera on a good fastball right there. So to answer your question, it's a very exciting night. And it's the culmination of a scouting season. I think it's the most exciting night that an organization has. Barring going to postseason, obviously that's a little bit different. Or maybe you sign a huge marquee free agent. But other than those two extreme circumstances, I think it's the most fun time of the year. When you bring new players into your organization, the anticipation is great. They automatically become your best prospects because you haven't seen them play yet in the minor leagues. And you just hope they live up to the potential. It's not an exact science. A lot of players drafted in baseball in the first round never get out of A-ball.
And then there are the picks like Kenny Rogers.
Well, Kenny Rogers, and again, I think we all tend to exaggerate sometimes, but I don't know if a player ever came from farther away from the big leagues to have a 20-year major league career than Kenny Rogers did. And, you know, I've told this story a bunch of times.
I never get tired of hearing it.
But the only reason he was drafted is Joe Marchese, a veteran scout, went to see Stanley Bodrick, an outfielder from Tampa, who happened to be playing Plant City High School. And he turned out to be the #1 draft pick of the Cubs. But while Joe Marchese was there watching Stanley Bodrick, he saw Kenny Rogers, who wasn't even an outstanding high school player, just a player out having some fun playing baseball. He saw him make a relay throw from the outfield, and it just caught his eye. What a nice, smooth arm action that Kenny had. At the time, Kenny was 17. He was 5'10" and 145 pounds. He'd never pitched before. And Joe Marchese convinced Joe Klein, the scouting director, to pick him late in the draft. I'm not sure the signing bonus is probably about $1,000. And I happened to be the rookie league manager that year, and Kenny joined our team.
Andrews bobbles and commits the error. Martinez reaches.
You know, Kenny joined the team, and he looked like the younger brother of a couple of the college pitchers that we had. We couldn't put him in a game because he didn't know how to pitch. Sid Hudson was our pitching coach, and Sid had to teach him how to pitch from a stretch. He'd never done that before. And so after about maybe a month or 5 weeks, he'd finally progressed to the point where we could put him into a game. And he probably pitched 2 or 3 times in the rookie league in Sarasota that year. He probably pitched 6 or 7 innings. And then he went to a Class A team, I think in Burlington, Iowa the next year. He grew a couple inches, put on a few pounds, and he did that 2 or 3 straight years until he was finally 6'2" and about 210 pounds. His fastball went from 78 miles an hour to 95 miles an hour. Bobby Valentine kept him on the team as a relief pitcher his first year, and he pitched in over 80 games. And then he became a starting pitcher and pitched for 20 years in the big leagues. And I really believe, and I think Kenny would confirm this, that if Joe Marchese didn't go to that game today to watch Stanley Bodrick, no one would have seen Kenny Rogers. And there's a good chance he wouldn't even have gone on to play in college or junior college. So not only did he get a chance to play, he had a 20-year big league career. Beautiful play by Indy in center field.
A dive, a rollover, but he robs Andy Dirks for the second out here in the eighth.
So instead of, maybe going to college, I'm not sure what Kenny's plans were, or, maybe just going to work after high school, he decided to give baseball a try. I don't think he...
Brown hands center, great hands of the game right here.
And boy, that was good hands and a great athletic play by Andy Chavez. But just to finish up on Kenny Rogers, I'm not sure that he had any idea he was pitching in professional baseball. It looked like a kid that was just out to play Babe Ruth League ball or American Legion ball and have a good time. And I think Kenny's career snuck up on him just as much as it did everybody else. But it's a credit to him too, because he put in a lot of work. And to go from where he started, basically never having pitched, to being an all-star caliber pitcher who pitched in the postseason, pitched in all-star games, won Gold Gloves, and pitched for 20 years. It really is a pretty remarkable story. There may be a few others out there kind of like that. I don't know if there's one quite as dramatic as Kenny Rogers, though.
I'm definitely not aware of one. Well, what if he hadn't made that throw that one day where he happened to have a scout on him?
Then he literally might not have played baseball after high school. That's how good fortune played a role in that.
Yeah, what if somebody hadn't seen Arguedas Benitez, an outfielder in the Oakland system, said, man, he's got a good arm. I bet he could pitch. And today he's Alexi Ogando.
Yeah, a similar kind of story. Never pitched. Wasn't a pitcher at the time.
There are more stories like that in baseball, I think, than in any other sport. Just the constant need for such a variety of abilities lends itself to great success stories like that. There are a lot, no doubt, being written even as we speak on draft night. Tatayama works around Elvis's 11th error of the year, and we head to the bottom of the 8th, still 11-5.
Texas trailing Detroit 11-5, and Dave and Tom, here he is, General Manager John Daniels, fresh out of the war room. Pick number 33 just happened a few minutes ago, and you take Kevin Matthews, left-hand pitcher out of a high school in Georgia. What can you tell us about Kevin?
Well, our scouts did a real thorough job. I mean, you picked 33rd in the country. It's a little different than picking, top 10, top 15 as we've done in the past. And obviously the success on the field you pick later in. And so our guys had to go dig a little bit deeper and do more homework. And what we liked about him is he's a real athletic left-hander with 3 pitches, really competitive. We got some video in the draft room watching the 360 dunk. Not that that's why we took him, but shows his athleticism and really competitive kid with a good pitch mix, and we think he's only going to get better.
Okay, then the next pick, just a couple picks after that, you take Zach Cohn, an outfielder out of the University of Georgia. What do you know about Zach?
Well, yeah, super athlete. Premium, really well put together, looks the part. Hit the last couple years, struggled this past season, has dealt with some things I think that may have played into that. He played some center and some left field. We think he's a true center fielder, and we think getting him to pro baseball with pro hitting instructors, there's some things that we can fix in his approach and his swing, help him with, I should say, maybe help him reach his potential. But again, kind of look at him as a higher upside guy because of his natural tools and athletic ability that was available lower in the draft because he hadn't performed this past year.
Okay, JD, you're through for the night, but tomorrow another few rounds. What can we expect tomorrow?
Just a continuation of our philosophy, and our scouts go really deep. They know these players' makeup. We look for athletes, we look for bodies, we look for projection. They've done a great job when you look at the last couple of years, guys round 10 through 20. And we've got some really quality players. Look out in the field and see Ian Kinsler and Mitch Moreland and on down the line the Cody Epleys and Scott Feldmans that they've been able to find later in the draft. So these guys really grind deep into the draft. They don't, it's not just a first couple round thing and they move on. I mean, they really keep working deep, and it's paid off, and we found players in our system. We got to find some more.
Definitely has paid off. JD, appreciate the time. We'll let you get some rest. Appreciate it. Dave?
All right, Jim. Well, Adrian Beltre hit by that pitch from Furbush. 1 out, 1 on here in the bottom of the 8th, and Nelson Cruz making his way into the batter's box. And Tom, I thought a great story today in the Dallas Morning News about the change in draft philosophy that John Daniels underwent a few years ago, and deciding that what you need to do is go high risk, high reward, intelligent risk, as opposed to the safer pick, which so often will tend to top out at A ball or double A ball.
Well, I think in order to have a pennant caliber team and a championship team, you have to have all-star players on your team. You can't get to the promised land, so to speak, with average players. And a lot of times some teams pick safe players, guys who they can say,
very deep and way back into their bullpen. Nelson Cruz has his second 2-run home run tonight. And it's 11-7.
Well, that was about 3 feet from the back wall. So if it's 390 to the fence, it's 60 feet 6 inches from the mound to home plate with a little bit of distance in between. That had to be 450 feet. He gets a breaking ball right down the middle of the plate, and he launched that one much like he did the one in Cleveland.
Yes.
The one in Cleveland might have been a little bit higher, maybe not. That might be almost the same ball. And if it went 459 in Cleveland, this one's probably going to be somewhere between 445 and 455. Almost the same ball.
And an extra run because previous at-bat, Beltre took it on the foot. Not many bounce off that back wall of the visitors' bullpen out there. Wow, so Cruz up to 14 home runs.
And just to finish your question, Dave, on tools. So you can pick an average player. He might not run that well, might not have a lot of power, but he's very polished. He makes all the plays in the field. Let's say he's a shortstop. Very steady, but he doesn't have great range. He makes a lot of contact. He can bunt, he can hit and run, but he doesn't have much power. And so you say, look, he's a pretty good bet. He's going to play in the big leagues. But how good is he going to be when he gets to the big leagues? He doesn't have any above average tools. So you may get a guy who gets to the big leagues and becomes a utility player. The flip side is you take a kid that maybe not is accomplished as far as the fundamentals of the game, but he's a guy that can really run, and he's got the potential to have a lot of power. Let's say he's a center fielder. And you say, well, this kid may not get out of the minor leagues, but if he does figure it out, he's an all-star caliber player because he's an above-average runner, he's got above-average power, and he's a terrific center fielder. And so the point is, if you pick the average players, you may get a lot of big leaguers, but if you don't get all-star big leaguers, you're never going to win. So you have to take some risk and pick the high ceiling guys with the great tools, because when they hit, now you've got your all-star players.
Well, the results are right there. The results of that philosophy have the Rangers defending an American League championship.
And they've got all-star caliber players. In fact, they've got a team filled with all-star caliber players. You know, if you were drafting Elvis Andrus, you would have been drafting him as a 17-year-old, as a kid who had really good baseball instincts. He could run, a well above average arm. He has a nice swing. And the scouts would be saying, well, he's not that strong right now, but he's got a nice swing. And as time goes on, we think he's going to be a solid hitter. He might not hit for a lot of power, but he'll get stronger. But he's going to be a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. And so that's a high ceiling guy. He's an all-star caliber player. He's not just an average guy.
That one hit very high, but not deep enough. Got under it a little bit. Moreland flies out to Bosch out number 2.
And I think as you get later into the draft, 7th round through the 25th round, you're not going to get the kind of player that you're going to get in the first round. So you look for a player with maybe one really good tool. You might look for a pitcher who has a 95-mile-an-hour fastball but doesn't have command of it and doesn't have an off-speed pitch. And you take a shot at him, because if the minor league coaches can teach him a curveball and he gets a better delivery and he starts to have better command, you've got a kid with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And the other side of it is, if you pick him late in the draft and none of that happens, well, you took a risk, but the reward was great and it wasn't that big a risk. You might take a player who doesn't make a lot of contact but has light tower power, and so you say, well, maybe he'll get better contact and become a home run hitter, and maybe end up with Jim Thome, who knows. Or you take a kid that doesn't have any power, but he's one of the fastest kids that the scouts have seen, and maybe he learns how to bunt, hit the ball on the ground, and beat out balls and become a base stealer. And maybe you've got someone like Vince Coleman. And so there's a lot of ways to approach the draft, but you don't develop the organization you want unless you have power pitchers and all-star caliber players. Not all of them, but your share of them, who have above average tools, power and speed.
Torrealba able to hold up on that high 0-2 pitch. And the fun thing and the fascinating thing is, on a night like tonight, in a few years, people will look back and go, why did they take that guy way up there in the first round? Or how did they know back in the 25th round that this guy was going to be a superstar?
Yeah, the other thing that'll happen when you go back with hindsight, which is very easy, you'll say, Bob Smith was picked with the 14th pick, and he never became a really good big league player. But with the 15th pick, George Brett was taken, and he went to the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Why didn't you take George Brett with the 15th pick instead of Bob Smith with the 14th pick? And, you know, you can go back to every draft with every team and see a pick that you wish you'd made. And that's just the nature of the draft. There's nothing you can do about that.
And that's the draft in all the sports.
Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, a lot of people wish that they took Dan Marino. And where'd he go? Toward the end of the first round. A lot of people wish they took Tom Brady. A lot of people wish they took Joe Montana. And you know a lot more about college quarterbacks than you do high school baseball players. A lot of people, well, one team in particular, wishes they didn't take Ryan Leaf with the second pick in the draft.
And you know what you're talking about there is, I think, a completely different philosophy of teams going for the safe pick, which physical traits and a computer will say, as opposed to the human element. And I think that's the thing that baseball's draft has over the football draft you're talking about there. Nelly Cruz just hit the longest home run this year at the ballpark. This one lands 459 feet away in the visitors' bullpen and makes it 11-7 as we head to the ninth. For Boys in the Hall, personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This week we focus on Frank Robinson. Boys in the Hall, Sundays, presented by Subway, where winners eat. The 41-year-old lefty from Waco, Arthur Rhodes, on to work the ninth inning, fourth Ranger pitcher of the night. And Avila, Rayburn, and Jackson, 8, 9, and 1 hitters, are due up. Arthur 3-3, a save, and a .485 earned run average. Making his 19th appearance. He has not worked in 5 days. Last seen Tuesday. Left in, Ron Washington admitted one batter too late. He gave up a 2-run go-ahead home run in the 8th inning to Evan Longoria. And that blown save and loss, the last game the Rangers lost before tonight. As that spoiled a promising start for C.J. Wilson. Arthur's second blown save this year, but 3 wins, tied for 3rd among American League relievers. 3 losses, that ties him for 6th. And Tom, after hearing Ron Washington discussing what he considered a mistake leaving Rhodes in against the right-handed hitter, really sounded like Wash plans to limit Rhodes' exposure, especially in competitive games like that one, to maybe a batter or 2.
Yeah, I think when the Rangers signed Arthur, they signed him to be a left-hander that would come in late in the game in key situations against a tough left-hand hitter and be able to get that matchup. Darren Oliver is more of a lefty who could be used in that way if you wanted to, but also stay in there and pitch a couple of innings. I think he's a little more suited to that. But I think when you've got a matchup, and you know, as Ron looks back on it, when you've got Evan Longoria, one of the better run producers, a right-hand hitter, it probably would have made sense to have a right-hander in there to face him. And Ron was honest enough to talk about that after the game. That's one thing that I think everybody always appreciates about Ron. Sometimes managers will never admit and look for ways to explain what they did, but Ron never hesitates. If he feels like he made a mistake, it eats at him, and he's not afraid to admit it and talk about it. That's one of the things that makes him such a likable guy.
I completely agree. Never know what's going to come out of his pregame sessions.
You know, he could have said Arthur, and I'll make this up because it's probably not true, but he could have said something like, well, Arthur Rhodes has gotten him out the last 3 times he faced him, and Evan Longoria is 0 for 5 the last time he's faced a left-hand pitcher, so I thought it was the right thing. And, you know, you can try to justify it through stats like that, but the reality is that if Ron could go back and do it again, there's no way that he would have let Arthur Rhodes face Evan Longoria. And I think other people probably felt that way, and they really appreciated that Ron would make that admission himself. He's human. He's going to make mistakes. Players strike out. Players make errors. Managers can fail to do something that they wish they did too.
Well, Rhodes gets Avila here. Now he's got Ryan Rayburn, whose average has dropped below the Mendoza line with an 0 for 4. He is 197. Strikeout, 2 grounders. Last time up, fly to right. Tampa Bay batting top of the 5th at Anaheim, leading 2-0. 2-run first against Chatwood for the Rays. The A's and the Mariners have already lost. Here's a base hit for Rayburn. And he gets into the act for the Tigers now. Everyone has a hit who started. And let's check in with John Radigan.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Coming up on Rangers Live, we've got all kinds of analysis from Steve Busby. We're going to hear the Ron Washington press conference. And, of course, we will bring you the very latest on the Rangers' activity in the draft today. You know, Tom, I had the strangest dream that I was sitting up there with you for a while. But you know what? I was living the dream before the dream. I'm back on the Rangers Live set now, guys, and back to you.
Strike 1 to Austin Jackson. Single, a double, intentional walk, has scored twice. John's right, it is a dream to sit up here next to Tom Green. Got that absolutely correct.
Oh, that's very nice.
$33,921 paid attendance tonight. Many from Denton, and the collision as Kinsler tries to come in and field that ball, and Rayburn on his way to second base. Ron Washington wondering perhaps wasn't this interference. So he'll come out and make that argument to the second base umpire, Ed Rapuano.
Yeah, Rapuano is giving the explanation. He gave it to Ian, and now he's giving it to Ron, and Ron accepts the explanation. Both of the fielder and the runner are shaken up a little bit.
Well, it is a single for Austin Jackson, and he's got a 3-hit night now.
Let's take a look at it.
Looked like Rayburn just lanced way too late at Kinsler to realize that maybe he needed to take evasive action.
Well, yeah, I think what happened was, and I'm not sure the explanation the umpire gives because I'm not an umpire, but it looks like Rayburn is trying to get out of the way. He's going to his left to try to avoid Ian, and I'm not sure, but just by the body language, it looked like Rapuano was saying you had the chance to field the ball. The ball had already hit your glove before the contact. You weren't necessarily in the act of waiting to field the ball. That may not be what he said, but that looked like what he was saying. And watching the play again, it looked like Ian actually touched the ball before the contact. Now, that's just a guess. I'm not exactly sure if that's what happened. In any event, Ron Washington and Ian were both satisfied with Ed Rapuano's explanation of the play.
So now 0-2 to Worth. Tigers tonight 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Worth came in pinch hitting for Don Kelly, greeting Tateyama with an RBI single in the 7th. Made it 11-5. And sends Chavez back, and it is over his head and off the wall in right center field. Rayburn scores. Jackson comes home. A 2-run double for Worth, who has driven in 3 runs in 2 at-bats, just entering this game in the 7th inning. And the Tigers again are back up by 6.
Well, that ball, the wind has shifted a little bit, I guess. It's kind of blowing in, but that ball sure looked like it got up in the jet stream and took off. It's not the traditional wind, but it's a little slightly different than it was early in the game. That's a breaking ball, center of the plate, and I'm sure Worth hit that ball pretty well. But the way it goes flying over Endy's head, almost to the wall in right center field, sure made it look like it carried well.
Brennan Bosch now with a second chance at a cycle. 2 homers, a single, a double. Fly to center against Tateyama to end the 7th inning. He will need his first triple of the year, 4th of his career, to complete this cycle. So Rhodes got Avila to ground out. Since then, singles by Rayburn and Jackson. 2-run double by Worth. And 1-1 to Bosch. Tom, what advice was Brennan Bosch given by Eric Nadel before this game?
Oh, you know, I happened to hear Eric talking outside the booth during the game. And Eric went to college with Brennan's father at Brown University. So he was talking to Brennan before the game. And in the course of the conversation, Brennan said, "How's the ball carry?" And Eric said, "Boy, it's really carrying well to right field for the most part. There's been a lot of balls hit in the upper deck in the home run porch. There's even been a number of balls hit almost to the back of the stands, right down the line between the foul pole and where the upper deck starts in the home run porch. And the first 2 swings that Bosch takes in the game go into the upper deck and between the upper deck and the foul pole, way back in the seats down the right field line." So Eric was saying what a coincidence that conversation was, and how the first 2 swings Bosch took showed exactly what he was talking about.
Well, that's not going to be a triple, but it is a career-high 5th hit for Bosch. What a night he continues to have. Boy, and 4 straight hits now served up by Rhodes, who will get a visit from Maddox. There is no one warming in the bullpen.
It just shows you what a crazy game baseball can be when you take a look at the pitching that the Rangers got for 7 days in Tampa and Cleveland, and then have this game pop up out of nowhere, really. 18 hits and 13 runs. It just goes to show you that there's nothing guaranteed in the game, no matter what's going on. It's a crazy game.
Ozark website Wednesdays offer half-price tickets in select seating areas when purchased on TexasRangers.com. And all Wednesday games feature dollar hot dogs. Don't miss it this Wednesday night against the Tigers. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com/specials today.
A quick birthday greeting. Maggie Dykert turned 23 today. She's going to Penn State. She's going to be a graduate student in the fall.
That name rings a bell.
Yep, that's Fritz Dykert's cousin. Fritz is our statistician. Kurt Dykert's our producer. That's his nephew. Niece. Kurt's a big Penn State guy. There's Fritz Dykert, a big Alabama guy.
1-1 to Cabrera with Worth at third, Bosch at first. 2 runs already in, still only 1 out.
The only way that Kurt Dykert would agree to pay for the University of Alabama for Fritz would be if Fritz rooted for Penn State should they ever meet on the football field.
And what's the point of going to Alabama?
Well, he had his choice. I can pay for your way to Alabama, but you root for Penn State, or you're on your own. I'm not sure what Fritz chose.
Well, Alabama beat Penn State this year, so we've got a front runner in our midst, apparently.
Well, I won't tell his father that he's smiling right now.
2 to Cabrera, up the middle. But an inning-ending double play is the result. Tigers get 2 more runs, 4 hits off of Rhodes in the ninth. Last chance for the Rangers. They need at least 6. Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout days. By the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. By Citibank. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Check out the Ford F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. Changes for the bottom of the ninth for the Tigers. Left-hander Daniel Schlereth comes on to pitch. Casper Wells gives Brennan Bosch the rest of the night off after his first career 5-hit performance, which included a couple of home runs and a career-high 5 runs batted in. And in the Ranger ninth, Chavez, Kinsler, and Andrews down 13-7, out-hit 18-10. Each team an error. Tigers have left 9. Rangers have left 4. Tom, you're talking about how everything the Rangers had put together in that win streak goes up in smoke in a game like this. This is more runs than the Rangers allowed in their last 6 games, going back to the last loss even.
Yeah, it's just a strange game. But the other good part of it is it's 18 hits and 13 runs, but it only counts as 1 game. So it could be 1-0 on 2 hits. It could be a late inning loss. It could be anything. It's just 1 loss and you put it behind you. And got Matt Harrison on the mound tomorrow, Ogando the next day, and come out and try to win the series, win 2 games and win 2 out of 3. The other good thing is Seattle lost, Oakland lost, LA's losing. So maybe you lose a game and don't lose anything in the standings.
Schlereth on for the 22nd time this year. He is the 3rd biggest workhorse. Tigers got him. Same trade that brought them Austin Jackson, the 3-team deal with Arizona and the Yankees. And he strikes out Chavez. 0 for 3, a walk and a run tonight for Endy.
Schlereth was the #1 draft choice for Arizona out of college in Arizona. He's got a good curveball.
Left-handers, Chavez now understands that he just 194 against him. Righties, 303. Ian Kinsler returning to form tonight after a pop-up began the game. He was 0 for 20, then tripled in a run and scored in the 3rd, singled in a run in the 4th, and singled again in the 7th. That's some good fortune on a couple of those. One, a broken bat One, a sinking line drive out in left field, should have been a single. Dirks made a dive for it, and it got past and rolled to the wall, went for a triple. But anybody's due for some good fortune and anything at all to get him turned back the right direction. It was Ian Kinsler, and maybe tonight that has happened. Three of the Rangers' 10 hits. Max Scherzer went just barely 5 innings for Jim Leyland. 5 runs on 8 hits. Took him 98 pitches. But he's in line. Time to get his 7th win.
Yeah, he's going to go 7-2. And the next time out, maybe he'll get beat 1-0. Throw 9 innings, strike out 14, and lose 1-0. It's just a weird game. Tonight he got the run support. And I'm sure he would say that's not his best performance, but it was good enough tonight.
Well, Schlereth not out there to do anything but get quick outs, and instead he walks Kinsler. And now we'll face Elvis, who's 0 for 4. Drove in a run with a ground out in the 3rd. Last time up, hit into a double play and has committed his 11th error tonight. Schlereth from a well-known family, of course. His father, Mark, longtime offensive lineman. 12 years in the NFL with the Redskins and the Broncos, playing on 3 Super Bowl champions, and now a longtime NFL analyst for ESPN. Daniel, out of Highlands Ranch High School in Colorado. Had elbow reconstruction surgery there after his senior year. So took a medical redshirt year, then went to the University of Arizona. Oakland picked him 8th round 07, didn't sign. And he ended up going in the 1st round to the Diamondbacks the next year, 2008. Now gets a visit from Rick Knapp after he follows the walk to Kinsler with balls 1 and 2 to Andrews. 10 pitches, only 4 found the strike zone so far for Schlereth. In Anaheim, Tampa Bay batting in the top of the 6th, still leading 2-0. Both those runs scoring in the 1st.
Well, David Price is throwing in Anaheim anything like he did against the Rangers in Tampa when they beat him. He's got a great chance to win a ball game.
Even better.
Yeah, Rangers scored on him enough to win a game, but boy, he had a great day that day. He was throwing that fastball 96 miles an hour wherever he wanted to. And the Angels don't have quite the same offense the Rangers have, so chances are he will pitch a good game if he is.
Well, he's got a 3-hitter going through 5 tonight.
Josephson informs us 6 strikeouts and no walks, so pretty much the way he was throwing against the Rangers.
Just in there, 2 and 2. Elvis thought him bit inside. If he can get on, then you got Josh Hamilton coming up next. He can still make it fairly interesting. But Schlereth comes back from falling behind in the count 2-0, gets his 2nd strikeout here in the 9th, and now Hamilton, last hope for the Rangers to keep it going. Josh tonight singled on the first pitch he saw from Scherzer, 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the 1st. Since then, his flied out, popped out, and grounded out. Toronto and Kansas City now in extra innings, 2-2. Royals batting bottom of the 10th. That game, Tampa Bay and the Angels in this game, the only one still going in the American League. Colorado won San Diego 0, top of the 6th. Washington 4, Giants 0. Nationals beating Tim Lincecum, bottom of the 4th. Still going in the National League. Philadelphia beat the Dodgers 3-1. Cliff Lee now 5-5. Reds beat the Cubs 8-2. Milwaukee another win, 7-2 over Florida. And the Brewers now just a game and a half behind idle St. Louis in the National League Central. Charlie Furbush went 3 innings in relief of Scherzer. 2 runs on 2 hits, including Cruz's second 2-run home run of the night. Nelly, the offensive story for the Rangers, in addition to Ian Kinsler coming up with 3 hits. Schlereth again behind in the count here. And gets his second walk of the 9th inning to bring up Michael Young. And despite a 6-run lead in the 9th, they will have to make a change here. Jim Leland, no doubt frustrated after 2 strikeouts but 2 walks issued by Schlereth.
I think what Leland's saying right here is, I've got a big lead. I'm not letting it slip away, even though it's unlikely. He's bringing Benoit in a 6-run ball game in the 9th inning. Not taking any chances.
So the former Ranger will come in and try and retire Michael Young and end this game when we come back. Out with 2-1 here in the 9th inning. And in case you missed it, the Rangers' first-round draft pick tonight, Kevin Matthews, left-hander out of high school in Georgia, who had committed to the University of Virginia. John Daniels described as a great athlete, could execute a 360 dunk at 5'11", and with the compensation pick, Zach Cohn, an outfielder from the University of Georgia. Impressive specimen.
It was interesting to hear John talking about Zach Cohn. I don't know him from the Man in the Moon, but what he was saying was, this was a kid whose performance this year was down. In other words, his batting average was probably down. He didn't swing the bat as well this year as he did the year before. He was a 3rd-round draft choice by the Angels out of high school. Probably coming into the year, there were a lot of teams earlier in the 1st round who were considering taking him, but backed off of him because his performance was down a little bit. What the Rangers are saying is, we feel like we're lucky to get him this late in the draft because we love his tools, and we think that the fact that his performance is down is not that big an issue. We think he'll just bounce right back and become the player that we project him to be. And based on his tools, if he does, then we've got a player that could conceivably have gone much more higher in the 1st round. So there's a little bit of risk involved. That's the risk taking that he's talking about for a high tool, high ceiling kind of player. If he hit 450 this year and was the SEC Player of the Year, then the Rangers don't even smell him with the 37th pick. He probably goes in the top half of the first round.
Well, Joaquin Benoit's years kind of followed that same projection. He was subpar, has come back lately. He's not allowed a run at his last 8 outings. 8 strikeouts, 7 1/3 innings. And up, no balls and 2 strikes on Michael Young. Tried to finish him there with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Tampa Bay just got 2 more in the 6th inning at Anaheim. Justin Ruggiano, the former Aggie, has hit his 2nd home run. His first came against Derek Holland last week. 4-0 Tampa Bay now. They're still batting top of the 6th out in Anaheim. Seattle lost at Chicago 3-1. Oakland lost 4-2 at Baltimore. Avila blocks that one in the dirt. 2-2 to Young. Michael tonight 0 for 3, reached on an error by Peralta at short, and now looking at a hitless streak of 4 straight games. Before yesterday, never had more than 2 straight hitless this year. Average has dropped to .314 as of this at bat. And stays alive. Well, that bounces off the club seats all the way down to the Ranger dugout. It is retrieved by Nelson Cruz. Just foul. Down into the left field corner. And you could have been looking at 13-9. And Beltre, and then possibly Cruz again.
Boy, there's a perfect shot of it. The only one had a better look at it was the third base umpire, Brian O'Neill.
So again, Joaquin Benoit loads up for the 2-2 pitch to Michael Young. And gets him swinging to end the game at 95 miles an hour. So Schlereth and Benoit strike out the side in the 9th. Schlereth walking Kinsler and Hamilton to throw a little extra drama into the mix. But the Tigers win their 3rd straight, and they end the Rangers' 5-game winning streak. 13-7, our final in the first of 3. Rangers Live coming up.
Okay.